do it, man. And then let me move this out of here because I don't want people to see what I'm doing. All right.
3,
2,
1,
and go. Hey, we're on. All right, let me see. Let me tell everybody over at Discord.
Okay.
We are on, and then we got to start getting our Friday beverage on. So, all right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, all that stuff. I'm getting buzzed all over the place. I think we're live.
I think we are.
What does that mean?
Imagine that.
Technology. It's the thing of the future, you know? Let me see here. There's a way for me to do this chat window over here that these guys can't see. All messages are visible. Live chat. I'm so satisfied. YouTube's already checked.
Just ignore the chat.
What? They're not real people on the other side there. Come on. The chat, they're all bots. The chat's there for people who don't have anything useful to say. So they type it. Let me see if there's anybody here. It's going to be so light today, I think. Well, because 2 of the regular people couldn't make it, but we'll check it. I don't care. We're at this for ourselves. That's the best part.
You know, they have a new feature now where people can send money in the chat to you, and it'll allow them a slot at the top to type out a message. So what you have to say is, your opinion means nothing unless you send me money.
Yeah, exactly. Text is bullshit. Text walks and money talks. That's what it's all about. I like the sound of this. This is good stuff. Are you serious? So YouTube's giving you new ways to monetize all this stuff?
Yeah.
Holy mother of pearl, that's amazing. What will they think of next?
It's a wonderful time to be alive.
It's a great, exactly. It's a thing of beauty and magic. So, look, it's my special guest. Isn't that awesome? It's the invisible person over there. My friend even helped me. He even helped me paint that and move stuff with my new studio, which is all exciting. So, of course, everyone already figured out. Oh God, Matt's on. Hey Matt, no, it was 2:00. We started early today because I need to get done early because I have friends coming in, and Brad actually has to get back to partying and drinking with me. Speaking of which, all right. So first, let's do it, man. Let's get it going. So first, welcome to another Farkle Friday. Woo! It's so fun. I don't know where to look. I think we're supposed to look there. This is all new because we have this brand new studio, which is stage 1 and stage 2 are complete. But first, I promised my very, very special guest, my friend. You may know him from YouTube, from Film Score Analysis.
Indeed.
It's indeed. Here I am in the flesh. It's Brad. Say hi, Brad.
Hello.
Hello. Hold on a second. I'm going to move this over a little bit just to get it more into Brad's area.
I just met Mike today.
Yes, I found him on the street. He wasn't making any money from his YouTube channel, and I said, you know what? I got a YouTube channel that's full of just great people. And hey. Oh, good. So we got our chat coming in over there. So
ignore them.
Unless I see cold cash, they get nothing. So if you don't know Brad, over the last 3 years or so, probably you've done your Film Score Analysis channel, maybe 4 years.
I think 3 years. That's fair.
Yeah, that's a fair estimate. Yeah, but he's pretty much one of the top guys to analyze John Williams. He's done dozens of John Williams cues. He's done. Actually, just posted my favorite. Well, it's a toss-up, but I think it's the best one. Is the Hoth battle. Like, I'm saying it's one of your best analyses, but it's also, I think, one of my favorite.
It's a pretty solid cue.
Yeah, it's top 3 for me. You know what I mean? It's like it's solid. Yeah. He wasn't phoning it in at that point. Yeah. It's not like Dartmoor, right, Karma? Huh? Dartmoor? Am I right? I don't know if you guys saw.
What's the shtick on Dartmoor?
Oh, did you hear about that? You haven't been to VI Control in a bit, right?
No.
So Karma just spent like 8 weeks doing a exhaustive mock-up of the entire Dartmoor suite, 7.5 minutes. And like a bunch of us kind of gave him some advice on it. I gave him some performance tips, but Blake has gave him a ton of like mix advice and stuff. And it's out on VI Control, but it's really solid. Okay. I mean, but the mock-up took him I think 7 or 8 weeks of probably part-time, you know? It's and of course, he said at the end, he's like, oh my God, it made me appreciate good orchestration. I was like, yeah, right? Because it's it's not just chords. If you look at it, it's like linear internal motion and John Williams moving stuff like in between so that the strings are more expressive. And you're like, I know, Mike. Go to my YouTube channel and you'll see just how much. So, but It's a really impressive mock-up, and the biggest thing about it that we always talk about is it feels like it's in a real space. It feels like the strings are over there and the winds are back there, and because a lot of times mock-up it's like,
Yeah, and John Williams is a good guy to try to balance your mock-ups with.
Yes.
To practice that.
yeah,
Because the orchestration is actually good.
yeah, legit, like designed for like the orchestra by itself, like it's designed to be picked up with a deca and that's it.
Yeah.
it's so funny. Like you go back and listen to like his early stuff. That was what you're talking about with Raiders of the Lost Ark. Where like, oh my god, it's a great score. And you're like, this is really pretty much like the deca tree. It's like we just kind of lift it up and we're like, all right, John.
Yeah.
Here's what you got. So, what was I getting at with that? Oh yeah, so that was the big hot thing on VI control, and of course everyone now is like, it's funny because Karma works for Spitfire. They're all like, so what library should you use? He didn't just use Spitfire. He's like, oh yeah, they're all Spitfire. It's like, see, you can make it work,
I'll have to listen to it.
Yeah, it's good. I forgot also how good Warhorse is.
Yeah, it's solid.
it's no Battle of Hoth.
It's not. I don't know. There was like lesser known stuff. It's not that it's bad, and it's not like he was phoning it in. But I just go, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's like it's there, And I'll slide over just a shade. I want you to slide over just a shade more. Okay. I can't have you out of the screen. Come on, you're a special guest.
I'm not that good looking.
It's you're not missing much. It's that era of John Williams' scoring. It's like I said, I feel like you said, it's like it's all good. It's like I listen to War of the Worlds and I'm like, he's got these good little action tropes that he does. He's got this good like aleatoric and Minority Report. He's got a couple good themes and it's all certainly well crafted, but it doesn't have that kind of. I always had that white hot heat of like.
Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday actually because I was listening to what's it called? The Escape from the Temple cue from Raiders.
Yeah, early on in the thing.
And the thing that I don't like about the earlier scores is his flow isn't as good as it became later. Like he doesn't weave in and out of textures as smoothly as he does now.
Right.
And so there was a part in it where, I think it's the very opening of the cue when it does the.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can pull it up if you want. But
oh yeah, man, you can always. Why? Don't take our word for it. Let's see.
There's like these little moments of tension where the fast-paced like orchestral movement stops and it's like this like 10-second moment of tension. Then it's like back to the and again, and it's like that could have been a little smoother.
Yeah, like he just kind of like brute forced it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you're right. Look here, I know what you're talking about. It's right after the really good build where he's trying to swap the idol. That's what you're talking about. There's that build, and then he swaps the idol for the bag of sand, and you're like, whew, and then it all goes to shit.
Yeah, there, I think.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's great gestures. Let me make sure. All right, good. And I got it streaming in, so you can see that's the audio stream.
Okay.
So, let me get to. Yeah. This is the build. This is where he's like, he's got the hat, and he's like. Right, and the guy, who's it? It's the guy,
This is fine, but he does it again like 5 seconds later.
Yeah, you're right, he dumps the rhythm.
Yeah.
See, now just dumps his pulse.
And then again.
Huh.
It's like.
It's almost like.
Yeah, it's like it's a little brute force.
Yeah, it's almost like he wrote those two little chunks of action, and he's like, okay, I gotta like connect these two, and he's like, shimmery tremolo strings, like it's just like kind of sucking up some space or some time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
so good.
Yeah.
Not trashing the guy.
yeah. It's not like I've lost all credibility and respect for the man, right? So, but it's funny because I'm thinking of like the Quidditch match from Sorcerer's Stone, where it's not quite the similar, but there's that similar thing of like lots of different action, and I feel like it's much more fluid.
Yeah, he finds ways to keep the pulse moving with the orchestration. And in those moments of tension, they're still there, but you still have that underlying like the movement.
Yeah. And funny enough, in his late stuff, like I would say like Minority Report and beyond, he almost gets that almost becomes his primary thing. Like if you think about AI and like Minority Report, they're like really motoric. They're like they've got this kind of he's really got his like ostinati down, you know.
Yeah.
And I think part of it's the genre, like he's doing that kind of like future noir thing, you know. So he wants that. But I remember hearing, you know, some of the stuff from Minority Report, like Everybody Runs and The Great Escape of John Anderton, and I was like, dude, this thing is propulsive. Like it's just it's going, you know. It's not as highly thematic as some of the other stuff, but it's like, yeah.
Is this Hans Zimmer? You're like,
could it be?
Did John become Hans? What is happening?
Did John finally lose the great battle in Hollywood? It's like, fine, I'll do it, but I'll make it awesome. Speaking of awesome, wait, before we jump in, because I gotta hair of the dog this. So not only are we listening to John Williams today, but if you want to reach over there, I've uncovered 2 excellent bottles.
Oh, you want me to pull these over?
Yeah, because this is so. When we're gonna talk about and analyze a bunch of cues, but not only that, we're going to decide which of these excellent vintage goes with each cue exactly. So Brad, why don't you read the one that you got right there? Just tell them a little bit about it here. It's what's it called?
Havens 2015 Cabernet Sauvignon, Napa Valley.
Wow.
Yeah.
It supposedly has hints of what does it say?
Volcanic soil in the best microclimates in the world.
It has, according to the description on the wine store, it hints of currant and blackberry and is an exceptional value. So, and then mine
you can
is
taste the value.
Yeah, exactly. I feel valuable when I drink it. And then, of course, for ours here, we've got the Pinot Grigio from New Zealand for our Kiwi friends, and this one has a crisp underlying of apples and pears, and an aniseed prevailing on the finish. So. Obviously, this will be for a more sensitive set of John Williams' cues. I can see it showing up in a lot of E.T., for example.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we put this down over here, and we're going to kick this off. What do you think we should start with? Let's see.
Let's taste the volcanic soil.
Yes, I want to
And the
feel
value.
I want to feel the value of volcanic soil here, and then you know what?
Thank you, sir.
So the reason I had Brad on is he's a good friend of mine, and actually Brad this summer helped me build the fresh new studio that you see. We actually are celebrating a bit because stage 2 of the 3 stages is done. I actually installed the keyboard. It's actually here. And Brad was really helpful. He came over like several times to help paint and move stuff. And so we're toasting that. But then Brad's about to move to take his a full-time job over at a music company as an orchestrator and a transcriber. So, there you are. So this is kind of a not a farewell, but I was like, oh, let's get you on for like a fun live Farkle Friday before you head on out and stuff. And then of course I was like, well, if you're doing this, then we got to do John Williams. I mean, come on, that's like a no-brainer. So we are going to raise a glass to, I don't know, to Farkle Friday. No, to Farkle Fridays and to a great guest and the great next step for you.
Yeah.
And to show these guys that why John Williams is freaking amazing. So, so we're gonna kick off with this. All right, now, but because I have a guest, I can't start talking. I gotta let you drive this bad boy. So you said you got some cool things. You're like, all right, we can talk about this or this. But first, let's see the value.
I can taste the $20 in savings.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, this is clearly a wine filled with value.
They were not lying about that.
That's really good. That wine. So this wine right here, Napa Valley. This one's been a very good year. It's got this great burst of flavor, nice and punchy and very kind of bright. Much like a John Williams action cue.
Oh no! Here we go.
Here we go.
It's over.
It's got to relate, man. Wow, that's good. I'm definitely inspired to listen to like something kind of from Williams's '80s oeuvre with this. So
yeah.
All right. So what do you want to talk about with this? What do you want to kick us off with?
Well, first I want to confirm to the chat. I see there's some debate on who the heck I am.
Oh.
Yes, I do run film score analysis. Yes, my name is Brad in real life, and yes, I'm also sticking on Discord.
Yes.
Just to clear that up.
That's right, because the whole gang is like, "What's going on? Who is that dude?" It's like, no. It's all legit. And it's all on the up and up. Yeah. And then, I want to know how Brad could ever make heads or tails of the night bus queue. Oh yeah, don't get me started on that. So speaking of which,
I think I pinged you for part of that.
I think you may have
I was
actually.
like, Mike, please help me.
Because it was that weird jazz, those weird jazz stacks. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, we also with this chat window, look with this. Like, I know Brad has a couple of cues that he wants to throw out, and I have a couple of cues that we're gonna have some fun with. But man, you guys want to throw out anything, especially if it's a cue on your film score analysis. Throw it out and be like, hey, let's talk about that one that you put on there. Like, we're just gonna flow and drink and have fun. So,
this is the one time where there's maybe any chance of me responding to people. I don't
Yeah.
respond to comments on my chat.
no, because that's a legendary thing of Brad. He's like, "What's up, idiots? I ain't talking to you. What is it? I ain't talking shit to you any."
Yeah, I like to roast my subscribers.
That's awesome.
What's up, dweebs, morons?
Waste of my time. Come on. That's awesome. All right, so let's get jumping in here. Let's have some fun. And what do you want to?
Okay.
Oh, we got to definitely talk about Night Bus at some point. Luke's already fired up about it.
We could start with that. But, well, actually, so this is a good segue because part of what I wanted to talk to you about was as a result of me seeing The Prisoner of Azkaban live in concert.
Right,
Played
last
by the
night.
Philadelphia Orchestra. It was very cool.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen a show like that with a live orchestra playing the music to the film.
Right, they put the film behind the orchestra and the dude conducts
Yeah.
the entire thing, right?
Yeah, go see something like that. I'm looking at you.
Don't back away. Don't look away. So, and you would say, it's funny. You're like the third guy in Discord that's been really pimping out Azkaban, both not just the recording. Like Blakis has talked about the recording, but you're also like, dude, compositionally, this is the thing.
The score is incredible, and the movie is incredible, in my opinion.
Right.
There's like some real subtleties that are like not totally present in the other Harry Potter movies.
Oh,
like it goes deep. It runs super freaking deep.
Yeah, you were picking some stuff up last week when you were talking to me about the scene where Mr. Weasley is educating Harry about Snape. Not Snape.
Serious? Are you a
Black.
Harry Potter fan?
Yeah. You know when Picard is talking to Harry about the Vulcans? That scene, right? Where what was it you were saying? It was like all these like visual hints of.
Yeah, what was I telling you? So it was Arthur Weasley's talking to Harry about like, oh, make sure that you don't go looking for black or whatever, like, it's great danger or whatever, and he pulls him into a dark corner and you see Sirius Black's poster to the side.
Yeah, so it's like bookending the frame, right?
Yeah, and Harry says, why would I go looking for someone who wants to kill me?
Right.
And then the scene cuts to Ron with Scabbers in his hand. It's a close-up on Scabbers because you find out later, spoiler alert,
Yeah, yes.
14 years later.
Yeah, you have it coming, you know what I mean?
Scabbers is the guy that wants to kill Harry.
Right.
So it's a bit of foreshadowing and all of this interesting, like...
But the whole point of it was that the timing of the cut and the edit was like,
Yeah.
kill me, blah, 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 which is
Yeah.
awesome. That darkness calls for a counteract with a nice light Pinot Grigio.
Oh,
That's
it's for me?
oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
You got one of each, then I gotta find mine. And we'll go back and forth as we're watching all of this. That, of course...
Yeah, Luke in the chat, I think he's talking about probably the same video that I watched, which gives some incredible insight on the cinematography and the more of just the actual film itself, like how is it directed and everything.
Right.
That's a really interesting video, but what I would like to do is a video sort of in that vein, but just on the music. Because the music also, there's some real subtle, interesting stuff in there that I want to hit on.
It calls to the narrative and stuff like that, which is awesome. So you're saying this is a good segue because you're talking about that, about the live show, but there's something you want to kind of bring up.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the Night Bus at all?
I don't know. Do you want to?
I don't know. I don't know what I want to say about it. That's the thing.
Well, let's do the chat. Let's see what our chatters want to do. I know there's a couple. Well, we'll get. You know what? Yeah, time travel. Yes, Azkaban is the time travel one.
Yes.
And then it's also the last one Williams scored. That's right. Because after that, what's his face? Nicholas Dodd or somebody else took it over.
Patrick Doyle.
Patrick
did
Doyle.
4,
yeah.
and then Nicholas Hooper picked
Nicholas
up
Hooper did
5 and 6.
5 and 6, and then Alexander Desplat did 7, parts 1 and 2. Yeah, which he did a good job. I won't lie to you. I wasn't a big fan of 4 and 5 as a score. I thought it was really pretty piss poor. Sorry. I mean, and look, I have 0 career, so I could say this. It's like who am I to do it? I just watched the film I did last year, the Blood Brothers again with my friend Homie. The work that I did, it's atrocious. I was like, oh my. I mean, I was just using samples and I didn't really know how to program them well, or But I was like, oh god, just like trying to be Jerry Goldsmith and failing utterly.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, maybe we'll get to the night bus. But there's a couple cues that you and I want to do first, and there's a guiding principle you want to kick us off
Okay.
with. All right, let's
we'll
get
start
into
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go into the night bus later.
Yeah.
So
we won't leave Luke hanging.
So I was watching the concert last night, and there's a cue. It's a new theme that John brings into the Prisoner of Azkaban,
Right.
Which is, well, I'm not sure what to call it exactly. I forget what the name of it is on the soundtrack, but it doesn't matter. I think it's like Window to the Past or something. It's
I just listened to that last week. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's the I'm gonna sing it really badly, but it's the do 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 do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can actually play it if you want. Don't listen to my singing.
Yeah, wait a second. Like we're gonna talk about this, but why not Window to the Past?
Which would call for our lighter line.
Yes, let's take a listen here. And how will this actually? What will this go with here? So this is. Yeah, it's the recorder or the ethnic flute. Yes, this calls for I think a more airy, more.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed. Really, for a lighter white wine, something with a briskness to it, right?
Right.
Perhaps or perhaps you could also go with a peaty Scotch for the mossy hills that this was written for. And by the way, let's just talk about the ability to do a theme with one instrument and no accompaniment. And you got to really know your tension and release patterns because you have no chords to back it up.
Yeah.
You got to make it shape correctly.
And there's a lot of stuff like this where he'll use more ancient sounding, quote unquote ancient sounding instruments.
Yeah.
On the score, and I think honestly it's just the time thing, how the whole film's focused on time and this thing that happened 14 or however many years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then he repeats it.
Yeah, and then it's just again with accompaniment.
Yeah, because and we talk about this in my Farkle Friday when I talk about developing a theme. It's like you say it and then you say it again, you add one thing, or like it's like this is a very simple way and very effective way to continue to stretch but make it very musically satisfying. So you're right, because that's actually one of the first times that Williams is using a lot of like you said, like an ethnic instrument, or kind of an earthy kind of folk instrument.
And throughout this score, he'll bring in. Actually, was that the harpsichord right there? Because he does use the harpsichord a lot in that score, and he'll do. There's a cue for Sir Cadogan that uses it's just labeled antique brass in the score.
Oh yeah.
I don't really know what that means, but
yeah.
It's just he's always going for these more ancient sounding.
Yeah, he might be using
textures.
like non-valved brass. You know what I'm saying? The ones that only work with the overtones.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know that, but like originally when brass was first done, you literally could only play the overtone series. You do it by actually overblowing it, and then the whole point of valves is that the overtone was the length of the pipe of the brass, and so then the valves actually open and close sections of it, and that makes it different lengths of the pipes. You actually can access different notes, and that's how you can make it chromatic. There's some. It's your education of the day. Ta-da! There, you just passed your brass class. There you go.
We actually gave you some content.
Exactly. Instead of just us watching us drink on camera. It's like, but all right. So but this cue. All right, you're thinking about something for this cue. There's a reason you're digging this.
So this cue plays a couple times. It first plays in the very beginning after Harry blows up his aunt. And he gets all pissed off. He runs upstairs. He kicks his dresser and he sits down and he looks at a picture of his parents.
Right.
And this cue plays, and it plays when he's talking to Professor Lupin on the bridge. When Lupin is telling him, you remind me a lot of your mom, and I remember your mom from school.
Right. It's memories and all that.
Yeah, and I think it plays again when Sirius Black at the end he's talking to Harry and he says, you act so much like your father, and he's talking about his dad. And so I really saw it as being the theme about his parents, because it's always brought up in some conversation about his parents.
Right.
And so, and actually, now that I'm looking at the title, Window to the Past, makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about that quest for a relationship, that quest for the memory of his parents, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's always played by a solo woodwind instrument, I think, almost always. But then there's the big sequence where Harry cast the big Patronus charm.
Oh yeah. It's like
to like push away the Dementors. And I never, such a moron, I never picked up on this, but that theme plays. It's like, it's much bigger because it's like the horns, the whole horn section plays it, and it's like backed by the choir, and it's like
it's this huge thing.
blown. But it's that melody, and in the concert I went, wait, why is that like, this is totally different, like he's casting a Patronus, it's this big thing.
Yeah, shouldn't it be a Harry theme, or shouldn't it be like a victory theme or something, you know?
Yeah, but then I was like, oh my god, I'm an idiot, because he, in order to cast a Patronus, has to think of the best memory that he has, which is of his parents.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
that theme, it's like the subtext of him thinking about his parents and casting the Patronus charm. So it's less about the actual act of the Patronus as it is
the internal
what he's
thing.
thinking of.
Yeah.
And I went, oh my god,
that's
I'm
really
an idiot.
nuanced. That's really nuanced to John Williams. That is
Yeah.
really nuanced. It totally makes sense too, because he's playing the internal. Like, you know, all the really good film composers, they always say that. They always say like something to the extent of like, you got to play the subtext, you got to play the internal.
Yeah.
You know, dude, that's smart. Wait, where is it? Is it in the Dementors Converge, you think, or is it
I
forward?
think so. Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can find it. Let me skip ahead. Williams with his. My God, sometimes when you just pop a Williams thing in, you're like, this could be the Clone Wars. This could be the Last Crusade. It's like
true,
he's got. That's not a bad thing. It's when Williams has to do his not filler, but like his general get from point A to point B stuff. It's like, all right, I just gotta look right there. Look, right here. That's the Clone Wars. That's, you know, the Sith. That's where I do the Sith right there, right? Or Raiders. Alright, where's... Dissonance. Is it... Oh, wait. Oh, but it's all dissonant. Because he's struggling to, like, put it together, right?
Yeah. That's it. So that's that theme.
Okay, listen. Here it is. This is just... This is a red wine cue. This is definitely burly and beefy.
There it is.
Good ear, man. I didn't catch that. Yeah, but it's all bitonal and it's all like gnarly.
That's why I guess maybe I didn't pick up on it the first couple times, because it's kind of hidden. It's all this other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it's orchestrated totally differently. But I just went, why is that? Oh.
Yeah. And it's him almost like throughout all the chaos of the fight, trying to pull this memory out to, and then the revelation right here. Oh, and that's when I think Sirius's soul leaves his body or something like that, right? Yeah. Dude, that's cool though. Like, and he's doing that. He's doing the minor ninth. Like, I'm in the wrong key, but he's like let's say he's in G. Let me show the keyboard showing this. He's doing something where he's in the key of G. Something like that, but then above it, I know he does all the time, where he's got the second and the minor third in the trumpets.
Right.
Like that kind of thing, you can see. That's a very Williamsy thing.
Yeah.
And then it's totally blurring the tonality and stuff like that. And I mean, oh god, that'd be a great cue to transcribe. But I was like, I don't got it in me. Yeah, I don't got it in me today to do that. But wow, that's really subtle of him.
Yeah. And that made me think of your question to me a couple of days ago, which was, why in A New Hope does Princess Leia's theme play after Obi-Wan gets killed? Or whatever?
Yeah. You guys want to talk when Ben pulls his lightsaber up and Vader cuts him in half and Luke goes, no! And they all start shooting? Leia's theme plays. It's not like the Force theme. It's not the Rebel fanfare. It's not the evil Imperial, whatever. Whatever that Empire theme is from the first movie. It's Leia's theme. I don't know why. So
and that, seeing this last night at the Prisoner of Azkaban thing, it made me think back to this, because it's all like, I started thinking about the idea of subtext and whatever being brought up with the music, and I think, and I've seen some people say like, well, the Force theme won't really work there, and I'm not even convinced that that's true.
Yeah,
probably would have.
Yeah, dude, he can make it work. Yeah, exactly. The dude made it work in 30 different versions in that movie. You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
So I think it was deliberate, and I think it's because the whole thing started with Leia saying, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. Like, this was kind of about Leia in the
Yeah.
beginning. Of
Yeah.
her needing his help. And in that moment, Obi-Wan is now dead. So her quote-unquote only hope is gone. And Luke is now seeing Obi-Wan dying and feeling this responsibility of having to help Leia or kind of finish what they started.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
he's assumed that role.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the idea of like, I don't. There's like that idea. I don't know if this is tightly wound into this, but it's like
No.
you don't become an adult, or you don't grow up until your father dies or whatever.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
you have to step into that role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like now the responsibility is on Luke.
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
fulfill that mission that she put onto Obi-Wan.
That's a really
Might
a
be a
really
stretch.
cool point.
I don't know.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's actually pretty cool because if you think about it, and going back to that thing we always talk about the hero's journey, you know, the idea of who is it, the hero with 1,000 faces? Joseph Campbell talks about this, about how a hero has to go through these various stages, and one of them, the hero's growth, is beginning to assume the mantle of not adult responsibilities, but of story-altering responsibilities. You know what I mean? Like, because if you look, Luke is really passive in the first act.
Yeah.
Things happen to Luke, right? And so at this moment,
Just whines
like,
about them.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. He just whines, and has John Williams save him with a lot of the Force theme is basically what it is. You know, it's like otherwise it'd be just another pissant teenager pissing and moaning about evaporators. So, but at this point, he's already begun to take steps to be more active. When he's on the Death Star, he's the one that persuades Han to go rescue the princess, and you know. But if you think about it, this happened after Luke fell into the trash compactor and was presumed dead, which is what they call the hero's. It's like the brush with death, or like the mortal coil moment. You know, it's the worst part of the movie for the hero, where you think he's dead and he's symbolically shedding his chrysalis, you know, and kind of becoming. So then this comes out, and now his mentor dies. It's like he has to step into this role.
Yeah.
And you're right. When that happens, it's like, yeah. It's like really. Let's do this up. It's really.
And I think he kind of puts an augmented thing in there to kind of like, you know, that's his way of being like, hey, we don't know.
yeah. It's like it could go a certain way. Then Kenobi's death. There you go. Just, by the way, did you notice that awesome variation of the Force theme? It's like so easy to like. Yeah. Well, he's doing that 5 to flat 6. Yeah. So he's doing like. That thing right there, he's got that like flat 6 to 5 thing going, you know, and that's what that little augmented thing is. Or it could be called, in my opinion, a leading tone, because I'm EISing it. But yeah, but you're right. There's that kind of like unshaken, that kind of like uncertain tonality kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really impressive that he does that. So does that explain sometimes when like you hear those themes that show up in like this really kind of blurry bitonality thing, and you're like, wait, why is he doing this? It's because it's kind of the underlying motive being obscured by like the surface music that's kind of representing the scene.
Yeah, and so there are two other cues that I was thinking of on the way here, funny enough, and I haven't gotten a chance to like actually go and look and see if what I'm thinking is correct.
Right.
But I think there's also a scene in Empire when Luke is facing off with Darth Vader, the big final confrontation, and
just tell me that the music's a little hot. So
okay,
that's fine.
and I think, if my memory serves me right, that like not only do you get Darth Vader's theme thrown in there a bunch, because obviously.
Yeah. You know.
But I think also Yoda's theme is thrown into there, and I think Han and Leia's theme too.
It is. It's after Luke gets his hand cut off. And okay. have you done this yet on your YouTube channel or not?
I have not.
Okay. No, it's fine, because if you have not, then I'll.
That's why I couldn't remember exactly if I'm thinking of the right spot.
I think it's Rescue from Cloud City. I think it's after.
Okay.
Let me try and find it. So wait, I know exactly. It's like when he's. It's like it's like when they're all breaking out of Cloud City and they're trying to get Han back, and Boba Fett gets on a Slave One. There's like Han and Leia's theme, Yoda's theme is there. It's all like coming together.
Yeah.
So is that whole idea of that kind of subtext of like, these are all the influences of Luke's journey that are like battling for his decisions and things like that?
That's what I think it is. that's where I got from this whole like thought process in my head of this idea of subtext and stuff. Like it's like okay, we're not like Yoda's not here, but he's thinking about what Yoda taught him earlier in the film. This kind of thing.
Right, exactly. Or like Yoda's lessons are kind of bearing fruit, kind of thing.
Yeah.
See if we can find it here. This is the scene. God, I wish I had the movie for this. Let me see if I can find it. I'll know when I hear it. That's hyperspace. Might be the end of the Clash of Lightsabers. Yeah,
there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, this is just him facing off with Darth Vader, right?
Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
He's here to save Han and Leia.
Right.
And he's there, like, following the advice from Yoda, or not following it.
Right, or ignoring it. But Yoda was instrumental in his training, kind of whipping him into shape.
Yeah.
So this is after Luke's got his hand cut off, and he like falls and like, right, and then right here, there's Yoda's theme, the C section or the B prime section of his theme, right?
Yeah.
And once again, Williams bitonal. Like, we're gonna have to jump in to one of your cues that we can put up, because this is one thing that like, so Yoda's in C. This is one thing that Williams will do a lot of. He'll do like, he'll be like a tritone away. It's a very simple bitonal thing. So he'll be like. Right, and like I'm like jamming in because this microphone is usually I have a thing. But if you look, he's got this like F sharp kind of thing, and then we found out that he does a lot of Phrygian stuff. So he's like F sharp Phrygian, right, and like just kind of like some chromatic stuff. But he's like, right, you see how that totally works, right? And that's because that's a really simple thing to like blur the theme and give it all this like gnarly confusion, which makes sense, right?
Yeah. It's chaos.
Chaos. It's a chaotic representation. Wait, this is definitely a red wine pairing. And then this is the Bespin theme. Oh, because this is when they're leaving Bespin. This is just like, but it's funny because they're like in the middle of a shootout with stormtroopers and they're like, hey, we're on Bespin. Oh, great. That is 10,000 times. Here's. That's Han and Leia's love theme, right?
Yeah.
I need more of this. This is a really solid red.
Yeah.
It's nice and punchy and very bright. A very good pairing for this cue. Oh, we'll get to this in a second. If we do the Battle of Yavin, the Williams canonical fanfare. Yes. Bring this back a bit so we can pull this out. Yeah, because I want to be able to play this. This, by the way, is directly from Martha Beer of War. And by the way, just sorry, as we're just talking about, like, now we're just into the fun little, like, gestures. A lot of people are like, oh, what are those Williams action gestures? A lot of times, and you hear it right there, where he does it in this, where he'll take that Phrygian or diminished scale, and he'll just build triads on it. So he'll go, right? So literally all I did was I just did the first three notes of either the Phrygian scale or the octatonic or the diminished. It's all the same. And I'll build a minor triad on each of them. You guys can see on the keyboard. Right, and then then you gotta do it in the trumpets. So first you do it in the French horns. And the trumpets. right? It's like, there it is. I mean, those are simple little superficial things, mostly when he's kind of connecting, the dots on an action cue. But
those kind of Williamsisms I might get shit for saying this, but if you do your theory homework for more than like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
it's not that hard to like
To fake
dissect.
it. Yeah, yeah, exactly, to fake it. And not that it's not incredibly tasteful, but it's like
Right. Yeah. Totally. It's definitely tasteful.
Yeah, I think
I'm
the
not
big
saying it's simple, but
no, yeah. Well, and then there's other stuff, but I think the thing that makes Williams great about it is that he knows it's not about how to insert it, but he knows how to layer it so there's clarity. It's kind of like what you talk about when you heard Harry's Window to the Past theme underneath all of that cloudiness that was the Dementor attack.
Yeah.
It was like he finds a way to orchestrate it so that it's like really clearly heard with all the other stuff that's going on. So he's able to have his music function at 2 levels.
Yeah.
That's hard. I can't figure that out. Like it's talking about the scene, right? And the chaos of the scene, but under it is the impetus,
yeah.
It's
It's almost like he knows what he's doing.
almost like he was trained and studied to John Williams. To John Williams. So then, you know what? This ties into. All right, this ties into. Hold on a second. I want to check the feed. But this ties into some of the cues that I want to throw out from your YouTube channel.
Okay.
Because what I was thinking was one of the reasons I love. It's funny enough because you're actually looking at the hyperspace. One of the reasons I love the cues, both Yavin and the Battle of Hoth, is not only is there just great action music and all that, but the themes keep on weaving in and out like at appropriate dramatic points, but they're like buried and covered and transformed.
Yeah.
So we could totally, because that talks about the subtext, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what should we do first? Do you want to do, or we could do indie because they also do the basket game. He does that.
There's a cue I thought of. Yeah, actually, we might be thinking of the same exact thing. When the truck blows up.
Yes, that's the
He
spot.
thinks that it's
Marion's dead. Yeah.
It's like you could look at it at face value and say, well, the truck's exploding. You might have some like big crazy orchestral thing, or
Yeah,
some
like
wah,
like
whatever.
drama happened,
But it's not that. It's like Indy feels this responsibility to take care of Marion, and he now thinks that she's dead. So,
Yeah, and they never
Marion's
fixed. They never repaired what was broken in their relationship. Like that chance is gone. Like like ephemeral kind of thing. You know what I mean? Did you analyze that? Is that on your YouTube channel, or do we just want
I
to?
have not posted it yet.
Oh, you're working on it though.
Yeah, I started it a while ago.
I'm gonna listen to it. It's gonna be awesome.
The amount of cues that I have started and not finished are overwhelming.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I'm like totally like dropping it. That's why I was like, we got to make sure that we do some of the ones that you have on here. We'll listen to this and then we'll put on. Do you have ET? Don't you? There's quite a bit. Oh, so real fast. Let me go to the thing about this. Rob Thomas is talking about this. There's a lot of cutting in that sequence where they touch on emotions and skills across a range of characters. Frisian under Lydian, yeah. It's also not overused or repetitive over long sections.
Bunch of drunks
Talking music. Straight, baby.
That's it.
That's it. To John Williams.
Yeah.
To John
Once
Williams.
more, why not?
Yeah, exactly. The man's worth it. But Rob, to your point, like let's talk about before we jump into the basket game, which could be an example of what you're talking about. The cutting in and out of sequence, you're absolutely right. Like that's part of what makes it great is that's truly an ensemble scene. This is the escape from Bespin. Because you're dealing with Leia and Chewie getting out. Will Han be rescued? Because he's already frozen in carbonite. Will Luke make it out? The drama of the betrayal of Lando, and is he turning good? It's actually a lot of different threads that are being woven together.
Yeah.
Which is also why I'm gonna nerd out for a second. I think it's important that John Williams has that really strong jazz background because the first thing they teach you in jazz in any context is like be able to say anything in any key and get to any other key and be able to transpose. Because John Williams has to be whatever key he's in at that moment, and not key but like tonality. He's like, shit, I gotta do Lando's theme or Bespin's theme or I gotta do the love theme, and it's like you just have to. You can't worry about whether you're in like I don't know D minor.
Like writing in Z.
I like writing in G. Who doesn't love writing in D? D Dorian, it's all the white keys.
Oh no.
Oh, it's going to a bad place here. By the way, D Dorian is like the best key for like Japanese role-playing game like Mystery Forest music. If you listen, it's like ready. Hey, write a music that's like you're in a forest exploring and you're like, it's like Final Fantasy 25. It's like right? Ta-da! There it is. I just came up with it. It's nice. It's pretty, right? It's very JRPG. So, and then you got to do the John Williams. All right, let's see here. So, let's dig up this basket game thing, and let's see. He's so good at making those threads work together. Oh yeah, I'm just checking on the chat window for this. Let's go to the basket game because this actually is great.
What isn't John good at?
Seriously, apparently writing music for Monsignor the movie.
Oh yeah.
I listened to the score. It's actually good. Of course, it's good.
It's not a terrible score, but I don't know the context. Like I don't know what the movie's
I think
about,
it was
so.
just tied to a shitty movie, and
Yeah.
like it's like you got. I'll tell you about that in a sec with the.
I love this.
Yeah. By the way, Brad was talking about this about how something about Indiana Jones, like Williams is able to keep the action going, but not have it be as serious as Star Wars. It's a lighter. It's more like, it's more action adventure-y.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's sort of like too when he's running away from the temple and like the natives or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like
The little pitsy strings, you know.
It's not like that kind of agitated like, oh no, I'm gonna die. It's like it's kind of funny.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, our Indy's in trouble, you know. Really make it out. I'm finding this cue pairs really well with my. No, not that. Monsignor was a score that he did, which has the dubious honor of being the only film score he wrote that he was
nominated for a Razzie, right? For
He
the
was
worst score ever.
for the worst score of the year. Nominated for a Razzie Award. John Williams. It was a movie that actually I think had like Robert Duvall or Robert De Niro in it. It was like one of those movies that should have been amazing. It just was a train wreck. He did this one too. This is something that Brad was bringing up. His like, in the 80s, he really loved getting into the pizzicatos.
Yeah, and he. Okay, so I've been trying to round up all the times that he.
Notice, by the way, like I'm gonna comment about John Williams understanding dynamics and about this is a bit more compositional, but I guess it's a compositional thing. Those French horns, those are 4 French horns at unison, maybe 6, but probably 4 in the score because he tends to be a 4 French horn kind of dude.
Yeah.
That's a big sound, and the reason why is everything before and after it was like light and balanced. Like he didn't start with a 2D wall. He like understands the dynamics, so that when those things come in, and you see the dude with the sword, you're like, right? This is
There's subtlety.
nuance. Today's word. It's like the 2 monsters from Sesame Street. Nuance. Subtlety. It's like, oops, I just bumped it. Sorry. This thing is in the way. It's like I'm trying to do this. Oh, look.
Dude, I love that. It was funny. I thought that when I started talking and the trumpets came in, I was like, oh, excuse me.
Sorry. Go back to your business. Sorry, J-Dog. Let's go. Let me skip ahead to this, because this right now is just good old-fashioned action music.
Yeah.
But let's get. It is. We should at some point we need to talk about Williams' bitonality. It's okay in California, but not in every state. That's the.
It's over. By the way, the stream. It's over.
It's over. It's
You
just
got the content you're gonna get out of it.
and now it's time for like a rant, just like a wine-fueled rant. I'm still recovering from yesterday's binge with one of my best friends from high school, so it's like, oh man. But you know what? One of the things John Williams does, which is really cool, and you hear it in the. Let me get the pedal out for this. You hear it when the thing blows up. Here, you might as well learn some techniques. As long as you listen to this wax rhapsodic about the genius of him. Right here. Not D, but C. John Williams writes in C a lot. Think about it. All right. What John Williams will do to make chords extra spicy is he'll play a chord and he'll put the seventh in the bass. So he'll go like this. Right? So what he's doing is, if you look, there's your C minor triad, right? And he'll put the seventh below it. Not always, but like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Can I run with that for a moment?
yes.
There's an interesting thing in the Harry Potter score, specifically the first one, and I guess a little bit of the second one because it's a lot of the same stuff. That's why I love the third one because it's so different.
Yeah.
But-
Dude, it's real different. Like I remember being really not caught off guard, but like pleasantly impressed with how
Yeah.
he runs it in a whole different way. Yeah.
He does. So I was thinking about this the other day because I want to do a video on this, and you think like, okay, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, they're like real young in the
Yeah.
social system. They're like 11.
Yeah.
And so there's this kind of childlike innocence about them. But then they're thrown into this place which is like totally different and beyond their comprehension.
Right.
And so there's a lot of like really sweet stuff that he'll do, and a lot of it's like based on major chords, and he'll move major chords around and stuff. And that's just his way of saying these are the good guys, right?
Yeah.
But then underneath, he'll put the seventh, not the major seventh, but like the dominant seventh, the minor seventh underneath. So he'll have a C chord with a B flat in the bass.
Yeah, like
and
this.
He'll move that thing around.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
the way I see it is this way of like saying, okay, again, it's like the sweet, childlike disposition of having these major chords move around, but also like this. Yeah, but it's kind of strange, isn't it?
Yeah. A little grit, a little bit of like it's not settled, right? Yeah. And I never thought of it, but you're right. Like he does that where he's like, that kind of stuff, and that extra seventh in the bass is really, it's just a little color, right? It's a little grit. It's a little,
Yeah.
interesting.
We'll do like. Like he does a tritone thing where he'll go from a C to an F sharp. But
Yeah,
like,
like James Horner style.
yeah, but it's all like with the seventh in the bass.
Right.
And it's like,
Oh, that's
okay.
cool. Yeah. And he does that. Well, he's not seventh in the bass, but he's doing that tritone thing. He does that tritone thing a lot, where the bass is a tritone away from the triads. He does that in a couple of Star Wars cues.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Oh yeah. The minute I play that, I'm like, I've heard that before. Yeah, it's like one of my friends called it. It wasn't about Williams, but it was about. I think. Whoops, sorry, I'm bumping the mic. Sorry about that. I'm trying to. This is new for me. I'm not used to this. We used to have a lavalier, but I can't be like, Brad, lean to my chest and talk. It'll be great. Just drink the wine. It got uncomfortable. He called it dirtying up the tonality.
yes.
Right? It's like it's dirtying it up a little bit, not like making it naughty. It's like blurring it, but in a very clear way. Like you can hear that as like a C triad or a C tonality
Yeah.
with something else,
And I think you could say it goes back to the idea of subtext. That's going to be the theme of this episode. Is
Yes.
subtext.
Subtext.
Because-
Subtext.
Right. Because you can have like these major chords and say, well, actually, he does this a lot with the Rebel Fanfare, where it's like, yes, there's these major chords moving around, and that's kind of his way of saying these are the good guys again. It's
Yeah,
like,
and they're being
whenever
heroic.
There's major chords, it's like, okay, these are the good guys.
Yeah, and they're being heroic.
But you're
Yeah.
gonna have this dissonant pedal tone in the bass or something that gives that grit to it to say, yes, they're the good guys, but they're struggling right now.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Like, you know what? Let's go to that. You know, it's going to tie into that cue. Let's go. Let's hit up your YouTube channel. Because you have that awesome. Is it the TIE fighter attack, or is it the Battle of Yavin where they're like a tri-ton apart? It's like.
You'd probably be safe with either.
Oh, I think it's this one.
Say for sure, but
I think it's this one because this one is. I was watching it. Yeah. I was about to say it's not like John Williams doesn't like use this all over the place. Can I do this? Because my monitor can handle this now. I think it can. I think it can handle it at 2160. Whoa! Sorry, wait. I don't want to do that, and I know why. Because I've got this thing sliced. I'm trying. One of the things I got was this new 4K monitor, so I'm trying to. Wow, I think it's big. Here, let's try this. That'll work. Theater mode like that. That's good enough to figure out what's going on, right?
Yeah, totally.
That'll work with that. Yeah. So this is what you're talking about. The idea of like very pure colors in one voice or one thing, and then it's kind of blended and dirtied up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he does it here. I know he does it in Yavin. This is good because the other thing is, I'm gonna nerd out for a second here. It's easy. I don't mean it's easy. It's the dude's a brilliant man, but it's like it's kind of very straightforward to analyze a John Williams action cue on the surface. It's like, oh, he's doing these triads and he repeats something and he does it, and that's totally cool. Yeah. But to then be able to say, but here's how he's interpreting his themes and making them and making the themes the subtext while keeping the surface action cue going. That's a skill right there, you know? I'm just kidding.
And I want to say this right now for all my freaking moron subscribers.
Yes, all you dweebs out there.
I've gotten some hate for being too technical and objective with my analysis. It's on purpose.
It's thought out.
We'll get to the subjective. Just bear with me.
I swear.
Freaking dweebs.
There we go. That's it. To having no respect for the audience. I swear there's a reason for it. So, can you ask me to play choir? I want my film music more dirty. Yeah, let's check this out. Let's analyze this because this is so cool.
I want my John Williams rated R.
I like it not being able to be shown on Netflix before 10 o'clock p.m. Here we go. Yeah. I'm sorry, I have to turn it out for a second. This is a great cue, but after seeing Family Guy Blue Harvest with Peter Griffin singing along while he's like, I was like, I can't listen to this now and not get the giggles.
I put that in the end.
Oh, the
yeah. When it goes to the end sequence, I put that in the.
Oh, it's brilliant. That's awesome. I had to. Yeah, this is brilliant. All right, here we go. But right here, notice the polytonality.
And he does it right here in measure 20. That low C.
Yeah, is a tritone against the F sharp or the G flat, yeah. And by the way, can you hear the piccolo? He adds up the second time for that little extra color. We're going to talk this in a second. We're going to nerd over this in a second. And by the way,
actually, that idea plays in like the actual motif that's in this particular cue, like the da 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 da.
Yeah.
All of the bass lines are like some kind of dissonant interval away from the major chords. Like the whole way through, it's like, okay, major ninth, tritone, whatever, like anything you can think of. It's like he's always looking to create dissonance in the bass line.
Yeah,
even if it's not the Rebel fanfare, it's always there.
Right, and if you'll notice, I'm gonna go back here now. I'm gonna nerd out for a second about why this works and what we can do. If you'll, and the big clue from where I'm taking it. And there's a lot of stuff. He's doing a lot more than just this simple thing, but you can start with this. I'll show you right here. That diminished scale run, right, which is like the right. That's the diminished scale.
Yeah.
Whoops, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, that's right.
Do you even know how to play the piano?
This is hard. What is this? I know how to play D minor. I know how to play.
No.
I know how to play that.
It's satisfying.
It's so satisfying. We're gonna get in so much trouble.
It's over.
Why do we call them TIE fighters? Awesome! Ah! If you look at the diminished chord,
I'm sorry.
I don't want to.
You know the dumbest joke in that Family Guy thing?
No.
It always makes you laugh, and it's such a dumb joke. But when Luke he shoots one of the TIE fighters,
Yeah.
and he goes, "Don't get penisy now."
It's such a throwaway moment. It's so funny. Nice shooting, kid. Don't get penisy. It's my favorite. It's like, yeah, I love that line. It's so just a great throwaway. And there's so much really witty stuff in there. And there's that like, throwaway little bathroom humor, which is just like perfect, you know? So look at here's what I was gonna say about the diminished triad, which I like. I'm gonna do it, well, I'll do it in C sharp. Right? One thing that diminished triad is you can build chords every minor third apart off it, right? Which means you can also build chords a tritone apart, right? And in jazz, that tritone substitution is a huge thing, right? Like, you know, if I want to go from modulate if I want to tonicize to F, I can play C to F, but I can also play, right? That's the tritone. I'm guaranteeing you the combination of the diminished scale plus that tritone substitution. Williams is just, because if you look in the beginning, he's like, you know what? Anytime I'm playing a triadic structure, look at this bass note. I can just move the bass note a tritone away, and it's equivalent, right? Yeah. So you can just go like, right? And it's like, and in your ear, you're almost hearing like a 5/1. It's almost like a, right? It's almost like like a waltz, but it's not. It's this gritty, but it totally works. So if you look, he's going like, right? Dun, 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 dun. So that's the first thing you could do if you need to like compose and like fake it out. You could totally be like let's say I was doing a chord where I was like, let's say I was doing a chord where I was moving thirds, right? Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Let's say I was doing that triadic structure. So I was doing B flat in the right hand to a D to an F, right? I can follow it with the bass. And it sounds cool. Or any one of those chords, I can do a triad different. I can go like, and dude, that's a Williams moment right there.
That's a rated R Williams moment.
That's a naughty Williams. That's, you know what? That's a red wine moment right there. That's not white wine. That's red wine. That's a rated R. Ready? Williams porn. This is going to the bad place. Over. It's over. And we still have like 45 minutes to go. We better switch to white pretty soon. We need to get some like ET in here, or like some some Home Alone, or else it's gonna be like, or else it's gonna be bad.
Okay, you know that meme?
Yeah.
You know that meme where, it's from some animated like Japanese cartoon or something, but where it's like there's a flower and he's going, "Is this a blank?" And you can insert it with whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I love this because it's like we're looking at Star Wars music and going, "Is this jazz?"
Yeah. Is this? We're gonna get so much hate from all people who are like, "How dare you demean the Williams into this, that, the other?" You know. So now here's the over/under. Is there gonna be more hate that we've been thrashing on Williams because we've been reducing him to jazz, or that we've been throwing random inopportune quotes about Zimmer about his D minor thing?
You know what? I'll take either.
I'm cool with either. Oh, geez, what do we got here? Just don't go full Elfman, right? Yeah, exactly. Just the. Isn't that the Elfman right there? Or like, there's the Elfman, right? One of Brad's friends, Matt, who's this session guitar player, I actually hired him for cues because he's really good. He did a quick little, was it woodwind quintet thing that he did? Yeah. And there was this huge Elfman chunk in the middle of it. And everyone's like, dude, that's so Elfman. He's like, oh yeah, dude. It's so, hey, God bless Elfman for that, to have such a style. Like, I wish I had that style, you know? It's like, when Elfman was working with Tim Burton in the 90s and the 80s, and it was just like, you wanted that manic zany thing, he was awesome. He's great with that. Exactly. But you know what? So going back to this, so look at all these times that Williams does B flat to E. There's your tritone switch. E flat minor to C. That's a minor third. That's out of the scale as well, right? B flat to D. Well, that's just kind of in the. That's still in the scale. And you know, Williams also moves beyond it, but you see a lot of this. G flat to C, there's your tritone relation, B flat to E. So it's not that hard. You just have to basically divorce yourself. You have to think truly bitonally. Like your right hand's doing something. I like that one that I did. You know, there it is. That's the one you want. And then the other thing that he'll do is he'll do a triad up here, and he'll either be an octave plus a half step in the bottom, or an octave plus a half step down the bottom. So you'll get this kind of stuff. You know, that's what I was doing before, right?
Yeah. It's
Williams.
all chaos.
Exactly, chaos, chaotic thing. Let's go listen to this here, and but also Williams puts rhythmic motives. Oh wow, look at those steps. You can't get that big with your keyboard hand. You have to double that. This is more red
Too
wine.
fast, Nickel, every time I heard that.
I heard that. Nice shit, kid. Don't get peanutty. Right there, look. B flat to G to C sharp to B flat. So he's doing that like he's doing. It's all the diminished scale, yeah. But it's so smart. Well, that's different. 3 times. Does it 3 times? I'm sorry. Let's talk about Williams, who does this all the time, like moving like between closed and open inversions, where he's like, right? You know what I mean? Like he's just moving between the inversions. But this is it's just, and sorry, I'm gonna nerd out for a second.
Contrary motion.
Contrary motion, actually having your fingers move like instruments would want to move, and like, how dare you?
Did you see? We should play this. Actually, I put a drinking game in the Yavin analysis comments.
Are you serious?
I said, take a shot every time I mention contrary motion, because that's all Yavin.
The whole thing's contrary motion.
Yeah.
Nice. I gotta try it here. Or do you want to finish this cue? Yes, finish this cue, and then we're gonna do Yavin, because I want to do Yavin and then maybe Hop, and also we gotta do ET. Wonder why Williams. Yeah.
Planing chords.
Just moving triads.
Williams 101. More dissonance and contrary motion the whole way.
Yep. And let's talk about the TIE Fighter Explodes. Not only is it a dramatic hit when you go to low octaves in the winds, brass, but he dumps out of the way for the sound effects.
Yeah.
Which is yet again understanding that you're writing for film and you actually want to maneuver yourself away. But if you look back here, everyone's like, oh, this stuff is so big. These are just triads that are stacked on each other. So it's like, so he's like, right? It's like, just imagine that, but in 3 octaves. That's how he gets a lot of that big sound. It's not putting more notes or more instruments on each note. It's building octave resonances, which is the difference between using acoustics to do your orchestration and using, I don't want to say electronics, but using production to do your orchestration.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with production, man. Blade Runner, if you look over there on my CD rack, I've got 6 versions of the Blade Runner score. So clearly, good electronic production is awesome. But
what CD rack? What are you talking about?
if only you could see it. And like, I've got this. I got CDs over there. I'm still.
Where?
Yeah, I can't see it. It's like it's so tastefully done. It almost blends in. All right, so I gotta get to where's the film score now? Where's your Yavin battle? Let's see here. Birth of the Twins. That's a good one too. Battle of Yavin Part 1, right? Is the one with the drinking game?
Yeah.
Here we go. Full score reduction in Part 1 of this. Watch it in 4K. Yes, I will. Thank you. Because I've got a 4K monitor. Did they blow out Star Wars in 4K? Did they actually do it?
I just export my Sibelius files in 4K so people can zoom in and that's
just
all.
Super, super crisp and glorious, right?
Some people complain that it's hard to read some of the comments, so 4K, you have no excuse.
Yeah. It's like, if you can't read that, then you don't need Brad, you need an eye doctor. It's like, come on, man. It's another quality red wine cue, I might add, by the way.
Oh, sure.
Full of
Absolutely.
I think the ballistic brass and the intense percussion is clearly suited to a quality Napa Valley red. Oh, look what it starts in. C. Or does it?
A tritone apart. based on a tritone apart.
To the tritone.
Playing major triads
Yeah.
because these are the good guys, but it's not quite right, is it?
Right, because there's some bad stuff coming, and so bad stuff means a tritone.
This stuff, I swear to you, this stuff is not that hard.
Yeah, I know. It is. It's not. And nothing, no disrespect to John Williams, but it's like you can fake 60% of John Williams with about an hour's worth of drinking wine and like watching Brad's channel. Like, it's like I feel
Go
so.
subscribe to Philip Scornell.
PhilipScornell's.com. Philip Scornell's is on YouTube. There it is. Look, I got it. It's totally right there.
Yeah.
Boom, there it is. You can be one of Brad's 13,000 dweebs that are there. All right,
Making
here
no
we go.
money off of it. So
It's there for the art. It's there for the art, and also to remind ourselves of like what happens when someone who's just really great at their craft, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not now. That's not a judge on anybody else. It's not. I don't mean to be a jerk with that. I really am not. I'm just saying it's pretty obvious. There's almost no one out there who basically say anything other than John Williams has a mastery of his style of film composition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just great to watch that. 13,000 people can't be wrong. All right, let's see here. Let's get this thing going here. So we're gonna see a lot of the same thing that we heard with the TIE Fighter thing.
wait, check out. I think I pinned my comment
Oh yeah, let's do this.
because we gotta play this drinking game here.
Take a shot every time I mention contrary motion. If you're still alive by the end of the video, please let me know in the comments that you haven't died of alcohol poisoning. Jeez, all right, I'll take a sip of wine. We're pounding through our red. We got to take a break after this and go to like something soft and mellow, like Toys or The Beginning of a Friendship by E.T.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
E.T. cues do you have tucked away?
There's I know the one that's up on the channel that you would like is the one where they are falling asleep, I think.
Yes, with the sign.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we gotta listen.
That's great.
Yeah, it's
you
good.
take a look at that.
And then do you have any Raiders cues?
I have the main March, obviously.
That's a good one.
Got to do that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
that's a good
have
starting one.
The Marion's theme iteration where Indy's sick, and she's
Yes, where does it hurt? It hurts.
yeah.
Okay.
That scene. Yeah.
We should do those two for our next two. Is that cool?
I have the truck chase scene coming. I haven't finished
That's a
it.
beast. That's
Yeah.
a good scene. That's the truck action music where Indy falls over the edge of the truck and the famous stunt where he drags under the truck.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so. Dude, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I always forget how good that score is because, you tend to like fall in love with Star Wars and all that. That is just the real deal. Let's do the E.T. and the Marion's theme because I want to do. Don't get me wrong, Star Wars is awesome, but all right. So like this is gonna be horns. It's kind of interesting to set up. Sure, try to part. This is something cool that Alan Silvestri does in Back to the Future. He splits the notes. He starts at unison. He fades them out like that. It gives this really cool, like gnarly linear thing.
Yeah.
It's more like a linear thing. Look, there it is. D flat minor against the C. So he's doing right. Actually, it's and then E flat to A, tritone apart, right? Right?
Everything we've been talking about.
The man is
Culminate in this
consistent.
cue.
Exactly. The man is consistent. Oh wait, contrary motion.
Yes.
To contrary motion. I think that's actually the big lesson we're going to take from today's thing. Is like that idea of tonal ambiguity through having a very clear tonality in one hand or one area of the orchestra, and then putting a dissonant bass against it, right?
Which is a representation of the subtext.
Yes.
That's the word.
Wait, we've just figured out the theme of today's Farkle Friday.
To subtext and contrary motion.
And contrary motion, exactly. And wine. And wine with Williams. But that's it. That's exactly what it is, which is clear tonalities in one register, right? And the dissonance comes from a carefully constructed dissonant bass against it. Oftentimes a minor ninth below it, tritone apart, and
Yeah.
that's communicating the purity of the main character's actions versus the dissonant construction of the scene, and also, as you said, the subtext, the turbulence of the surface scene versus what's going on underneath in the characters. Because we got to get to when Ben says use the force, Luke. That's a classic example of like,
Yeah.
it's a different feel because he's got the force theme with all the shimmering strings, the angelic strings.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of the subtext. It's like, here's a spirit from beyond the grave, but what's he hearing? He's hearing the hero theme, the choose your destiny.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's go listen to this. This is gonna be awesome. Oh, and let's drink to the woodwinds. There's the drill theme. That's a great little theme.
Contrary motion.
Contrary motion.
Moderate.
Oh my God. Look, this thing's right on. Oh, this. All right, here's my theory on this. Williams does this every so often. He'll take a fanfare and he'll stack it canonically. Canonically means an imitation, so it'll be like bum bum dun 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 dun. And to me, what that is showing is the drive of the hero, right? Because that's the fanfare. Is like the heroes, not themed, like the heroes being like, we're gonna go into this, and then the dissolving of organization as they are about to plunge into battle. There's a famous quote by that general, which is like, no battle plan ever survives contact with the enemy. You ever heard that quote?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. Is they're like, okay, we've got this plan. We're heroes. We're all driven in. We're gonna go in, and then all of a sudden, it's like it's already starting to break down, right? And to me, that I think is what that always represents. That canonic. Plus, it's very military when you do those little rippling imitations.
And plus, if you go back a second, it's all of the X-wings converging across the screen. They're all coming together.
Oh yeah. They're all kind of rippling in. Yeah.
So it's like all of the pilots and stuff. They're all converging and getting ready.
Yeah, and organized.
As are all the
Yeah. Yeah, look, they're like ripple. Yeah. It's like almost like coloring the video, right? It's almost like comes in the video. And there's that grindy, there's that grit. And which thing is better than? Like it's funny because look, he's doing the force beam against the rebel motor. That like that's like the rebel motor. That's like the hero motor.
I wrote about that I think on the last page, and it doesn't really show up throughout the film except for in the concert version of the main title and the end of the credits sequence. It comes because it normally plays the main Star Wars theme. The da 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 da.
Yeah.
That's usually what plays over that, but it doesn't really show up in the film at any point in time. So it's just
It's just a texture he came up with, and he
Yeah.
kind of reuses over and over again,
Yeah.
Well, and like, not that I've done too many feature films, but there's one thing that the last one that I did that I think really helped survive, which is you come up with a list of like, and I learned this from actually a Ron Jones masterclass, where it's like you come up with your licks, your ostinatos, your figures, and you basically paste them on the wall. And they're like, whenever you're not in trouble, whenever you're like, okay, I need to come up with something to keep the thing going, you have your riffs, and you're like, because you want the audience to keep on hearing things in a good way, not strictly repetitive, but you want them to hear things that call them back and things, So that's a good thing because it's like the rebels and all this. Like, okay, right, that's my that's my motoric motif thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think there's value to that. Oh, contrary motion. Jeez, he really does. Well, but so Brad. Here's the thing. It's like he's using contrary motion, but then he's also got these triads that are planing. So how is he doing that both? Like
he's throwing all of his tricks into one basket. He's saying, "What do I know how to do? Contrary motion, chord planing."
Yeah. Let's do it all together, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. It totally works. It's great.
Yeah.
But it's the Imperial motif is a solo melody. Dun 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 dun.
The themes are just thrown on top.
Yeah.
Not without care. I'm not saying.
Yeah, he's not just like like just farting onto the page.
Yeah.
Not without care. What's the? That's just an octave. This. I'm sorry. How do you even get this thing right here at bar 35? It's like so linear and out there. What's he doing? He's like, is that what he's doing? He's like E flat to B, E flat to A to F sharp to that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened. And that's some sort of C sharp to G to that's some sort of A dominant structure. And then, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. If you read my note that I put on top, Mike.
Oh look, you already solved this. You know what? You should never answer any of my comments on your because clearly I'm an idiot. Melodic lines give the seventh chord stab, such as the flat 9, the sharp 5. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. So it's like
it's just giving a dissonant overlay on top of the dominant chords. I think that's the way I saw it.
And man, you keep on you've mentioned a couple times the idea of this dominant seventh. You heard it in Harry Potter. Like Williams is not afraid of that dominant structure.
He'll do whatever he wants with it.
He's just that good. He's just that good.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because the dominant chord, if you think about it, you're like, oh man, it's so dated. If I do like, right? Like it's almost like an 80s like rom-com, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, doesn't that feel like an 80s like Alan Silvestri romantic comedy? But Williams is totally making it work. Like when you hear that doesn't sound, maybe it does sound dated. I don't think it does. It sounds.
Well, and I feel like dominant chords have this feeling of being unresolved, and so him just kind of throwing them around and doing all this dissonant stuff with them, it's like you're not hearing it in that context of it being this cheesy bluesy thing. It's It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't settled in yet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. We're still moving. That's got to be what it is. It's like it totally never lets it feel like it settles down.
Somebody use your bathroom.
Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah, go always. And notice right here, again, he pauses, and this is more just for the gang. It's pretty easy and obvious. There's the chaos, the battle, then all of a sudden it cuts to the very methodical moving of the Death Star across the planet of Yavin to the moon, and the very methodical Moff Tarkin. So Williams comments on that with it's like, hey, let's just get rid of all the chaotic stuff and just have some smooth, steady chord progressions. Desire to blur the downbeat. He's always blurring the downbeat. You know what I mean? Like
contrary motion.
Give me that wine. Come on, let's get after it. That was a string and woodwind contrary motion. That's worthy of a white wine sale. There we go. Nice. Oh, right there.
Can't even keep up with it, dude.
Yeah.
Contrary motion doing something.
And the bitonal obscuring of the force feed with those with clean chords.
I mean, that whole accompaniment right there is just contrary motion.
Yeah, he's right. More controversy. Jeez, we'd be dead if we were taking shots. We'd be dead.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're starting our attack run.
That's it.
And by the way, notice where it ends. It ends with, wait for it, C, with a D flat over it. Right? Which is a Williams thing. Like I mean, I don't mean this in a bad way. But I was saying, like, he'll do a bass and then he'll take the minor or major triad, a minor ninth above it, like that. He'll do it all the time, right? Right? I mean, it's like, at a very superficial level, But I'm gonna say this. This is what makes Williams great, because any of us could quickly hack our way through a Williams-ish thing and make it sound kind of superficially similar, and it would be superficially pretty darn close. But it's that thread of theme that he does.
Yeah.
That is really elegant, and really, that's craft and talent, right?
And the subtext.
Subtext. So did you have part 2 of this thing?
I do not.
Because we want to hear the Kenobi thing.
And the reason, I don't have that because my my written out score that I have of it is unfinished. There's pages missing, so I can't do a complete, video on it.
No, it's fine. So, there's so much good stuff on it already with it, and geez, look at all this great stuff you've done. All right, let's grab the ET thing because we got white wine now. I want to take a break from the action stuff, because what I want to do is, we're talking about subtext. Let's talk about when Williams gets emotional and soft, because he actually does that better than you think, because he's so subtle that people are like, oh, he's just doing little pads and stuff. You're like, no, man.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any other examples.
Well, the ET one is a great one to start with. Oh, look, there's the night bus. Karma. Night bus.
At the end, if Karma or it's Luke, right?
Yeah, if Luke's still here, yeah.
If Luke's still here, yeah. Let's look at the night bus.
We'll finish that at the end. We'll hook him up. Binary Sunset. Did you ever transcribe the Tales of a Jedi Knight? Because I know I did that a while ago.
I did, but I never posted it.
Okay, because you sent me the score reduction to check where I was darn close. It's darn close.
Yeah, I never posted it.
Oh, you'll get it.
Because screw the fans.
Because I don't listen to your needs or wants. I do what I want when I want.
It's totally finished. I just did it for myself.
It's like Prince with that album. He's like, I got an album. I may or may not release it. It's like, all right, where's the Cedric's death? That's a good one. Man, there's some really good stuff in here. Where is Meeting E.T.? No.
That's it. That's it, actually.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was a new friend.
Well, it's just the names are different between the actual written score and the soundtrack.
Yeah.
So you might be thinking of this cue, but I think it's the same thing.
Why doesn't your YouTube page load it, Brad?
I don't know. I have control over these things.
I blame you directly for all failures of technology on Google's part. Everything on Google that happens is your fault. Look, nothing's loading properly. God, it's so disappointing. And I'm using Chrome. That's the worst part about it. This thing should be a freaking... I'm using Chrome with a high-speed internet access. God. All right, so what's going on here that we want to just mention? Anything you want to talk about, especially with the subtext, because this is a big thing. For those of you who have not seen E.T., it completely ruined this kid's career because he went nowhere after it, except for Cloak and Dagger.
I do love his... Did you see his audition video for E.T.?
Haunting.
Oh my God.
Right? I was weeping watching it.
Yeah, and Spielberg's just like, you're in.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I was like, I don't need to see anyone else,
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so sweet. If you guys haven't seen it, go to YouTube and look for Elliot's audition.
Yeah.
Because it's he's just in his normal clothes. He's just jeans and a t-shirt, right? Coming in off the street.
Yeah, he just weeps. You're like, oh my God.
On command. Yeah. It's so good. It's really good. It's so emotional. And that's what Spielberg is at his finest, where it's just I'm just going to really pull at your heartstrings, So, all right, so this, by the way, I'm going to say it right now. This is my favorite film score John Williams has ever done. I actually think it's it's one of his best. It's really obvious. That's very easy to say. Because, and then you can argue, some guys like Mike Verda, I think, says Jaws and Close Encounters, which are amazing. This is my favorite. I think this is just that last 15-minute cue.
Mike Verda says Jaws and Close Encounters is his best?
I think so. Don't quote me on that.
Mike Verda's wrong.
Well, I don't want to get him in trouble for saying that. Oh, I know Pete does that. Pete thinks that Jaws is one of his best. I know that. I know that will say that. Because the shark view.
That's wrong. That is incorrect.
We need to have a battle royale between he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he's lost all credibility. Are you saying that Jaws didn't? Well, his best. What do you think his best score is? It's tough.
I can't say what his best is, but when he did Jaws, John was a puppy, okay? He was just figuring it out,
testing the waters, right?
Yeah, and there are things in that where I go, okay, it kind of goes back to that thing with the Raiders where there's like really good orchestral gestures and everything, and it's like obviously he knows what he's talking about,
Totally.
but he hasn't completely developed it yet. That's what I hear when I go back and listen to that stuff. Like, he's obviously really good. I'm not saying he's terrible or that he's like some shitty composer, but like let's be real and realize that he had like 30 more years to go.
Right.
You know, and that he improved since then. You know,
that's a point that I would definitely support 1,000%. It's like, wait, are you telling me that he hit his peak in 1975 and everything else was like an attempt to capture the former glory?
Yeah.
Nah, dude. Nah. But then, of course, I'm saying the same thing about E.T., where I'm saying it's his best score. Well, it's my favorite. That's a fair thing to say. Yeah.
That's fair.
And I'll say it's one of his best. It's one of the ones where, and I think it's cool if like Pink Floyd's another example where like I love all their stuff from the 70s, but I feel like The Dark Side of the Moon might have been that culmination where everything kind of hit. But yeah, but I was saying it's like to say Jaws and then to ignore all 3 Star Wars films, all 3 Raiders films, and E.T. and the Supermans. It's like, I don't know, man. That's a lot. And the Harry Potters. Yeah. It's like that's a lot of works to like just throw into the under the guff. But I think Mike is like a big fan of Superman. I think that's one of his big his go-to. Well, that's the great about Williams too. I'll say this too, which you can have your favorite. But man, I like that argument of just like, wait a second, are you telling me that like in 1975, that was it? Like that was the best he could do, and like everything else was like trying to like claw his way back to that greatness?
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that time period of like E.T., Raiders, Star Wars, I'm drawing a blank, but Jaws.
Oh yeah.
That like the themes that he wrote for those movies were like white hot, and like obviously they permeated the culture.
Yeah,
and have stuck with us for 40 plus years.
Yes,
you know, that's fair to say that the themes are very well. And actually, I can't say that he's written a really great theme. Like apart from the Harry Potter stuff, like nothing has really had quite the impact that those themes have had.
That like 10-year period of like 75 to 85, right? Yeah.
But his execution of scores in general has been way better, has improved.
Yes, that'll agree with 1,000%, you know? So, and it can tell like somebody's getting drunk. Of course, it's Wine and Williams, you know? Oh, yeah, and Schindler's List, some of the best themes out there. Ooh, yeah, yes. And
Yes,
Schindler's List. Yeah, well, you know what? Schindler's List was about the same time as the later Harry Potter, right? Was it Schindler's List like 1999 and all that? So he was still...
Yeah.
And also, yeah, totally. I mean, let's talk about this. Like, this is like arguing about Michael Jordan's finest year in basketball when he kept on winning those championships, right? It's like, was it 87 or 88? It's like, wait a second, the man was still a champion at any, right? It's kind of like, you know, this is what nerds get all like fired up about, you know? But I think you're right. I think, and there's 2 things I'll say about this with the themes. I think part of it was Williams was just in that spot where his brain and the combination of his education and his mental agility was such that the themes were just there. Like you said, like Raiders, all the Empire themes, all the E.T. themes, all the Superman themes. And in the Harry Potter, he still had it and all that, but he was starting to like, wasn't quite as white hot. Part of it was the culture. The culture wants the great themes. I mean, at the same point in time, Star Trek the Motion Picture, Star Trek 2 was coming out, you know, the Last Starfighter, you know, all these like sci-fi themes were coming out. It wasn't the Field of Dreams, like, you know, audiences wanted the great theme. So I think part of it was just the culture too, you know, and then the other thing might be also what the directors want. You know, the directors nowadays maybe want a bit more of a groove, maybe want a bit more of a texture. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, you know, but I think Robert's saying, thank you, Tony's saying E.T.'s my fave too. Thank you, Tony. That's right. And you know what? It's all a win-win. Like, I'm gonna grab more drunk. So like, let's drink to the fact that we have such a plethora of movies to argue about for best theme, right? I mean, if the best film score, right? It's like, God, as a film composer, I would love for in 20 years people to argue about which of 10 movies I've scored are like the greatest film score I've ever done, you know?
Yeah.
These are good arguments to have. So Rob said, I think the themes and core ideas are more important than his later improvements, though, because they work amazingly even on piano. Well, I agree. I think one of the funny things about Williams, as great an orchestrator as he is, because he was a jazz piano player, his themes render astonishingly well to piano. I mean, you can literally go... Right. And then, of course, the modulation. I mean, just so good. But that right there, that communicates it perfectly on the piano, which is a real important thing, I think, for a good thematic writer. You should be able to play it.
Yeah.
You know, and even when it's a chordal theme. Right? Right there, it's a chordal theme, but it lays very well onto the piano, which is totally true. Not much of a fan of Harry Potter, but Chell says, not much of a fan of Harry Potter, but Hedwig's theme is so good. Yeah, absolutely. It's
Leave.
You must no longer attend the Farkle Friday. But Hedwig's theme is so good. Braddy Boy to AI, thank you, please. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I have not really gotten into that score yet.
AI is really funky.
It's interesting.
It is.
I've listened to it before and I was like, what?
Like that opening thing where he's playing with the mom and it's all these like mechanical, not sound, but mechanical patterns, because the idea of like a clockwork, almost like a boy made of gears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's totally. By the way, I'm a huge fan of, I like AI. I love Minority Report, which is kind of that same world as like kind of mechanistic, you know.
Yeah, it's all the same time period too.
Yeah. It was part of the William Spielberg Running Man trilogy. You heard about that, right? That's so what Spielberg did. You hear about this?
No,
Spielberg did he kind of, I think artists do this. They come up with like projects or ideas or cycles where they're like, I want to just push myself. So he did something what he calls the Running Man trilogy, and it's 3 movies, and each of them involve the protagonist fleeing. So one of them is Minority Report, right? One of them is, hey Bear, come on in. We're hanging out. We're getting drunk and arguing about whether Jaws is better than anything else.
Jaws.
What'd you think of this fine Cabernet
Oh my
from?
goodness, this is delicious.
Yeah,
Can I have more?
yeah. So only if you say
No.
something kind about John Williams.
Why would anyone say anything unkind about John Williams?
Exactly.
Fair
Man's a
enough.
genius. Exactly.
Awesome.
That
There's
counts.
enough. Yeah, exactly. There's enough for me and Brad to have 1 glass each.
I
So
need you to quick give Erica directions from New York City by text. 'Cause she's like, should I come I-91, 195 or 276? I'm like, oh my god.
give me 1 sec. I have to be a
Both
husband
of
for a
those
second.
ways are a bad
As soon as the
idea.
car says 3 hours, come in by. Tell her 276. Tell her 276 west to 476 south.
Okay.
Actually, I'll do it right now. Sorry, guys. Quick break.
Thanks.
It's all right. Say hi to everybody. There you are. They're up there. This
Yeah,
is the best
I'm
part
reading
about
through
this.
the chat.
Don't let me lose this this
I'm
thread
leaving 'cause
about the
this-
Running Man trilogy.
The screen on the lower right. It's about.
Here,
I'm
Bear.
gonna count it out. Thank you.
Yeah, it's about 10 seconds behind. Yes.
Yeah, don't look at it or you'll go crazy.
Yeah, I keep on tracking down there, and I'm like, wait, this. I'm not doing.
It's like
I'm
9
seeing myself in the
seconds.
future.
That's crazy.
I know. All right, we're gonna go finish up Farkle Friday, and
Okay.
you can stay and watch if you want.
I'm gonna go down
Okay.
because the homies are on their way. Also.
Yeah. I know.
And then Erica's leaving New York now. So I'm like, eh.
Okay.
Um,
We're taking a quick break for a second. Oh, Chell says, everyone
Hello
says,
there.
J-Dog says hello. J-Dog says hello there, and Chell says, pull up a chair. Or,
if there
Jaden
was another
says.
chair, I would.
Wait, one more week, because it's
yeah.
coming in a week. Oh, no.
Well,
She's
then
gonna,
we're gonna have a whole.
we're gonna have a love seat back here, and then I'm gonna have
Sit
2
down.
film
And
composers.
then you're just gonna be able to stare at me the whole time while I'm sitting on this. thing.
Yep. Go follow. If she gives further details, just route her to 276 to 476 and tell her to
She says,
use.
Got it. Thanks. Okay.
Right. Hey,
And the homies will be here in like 20 minutes.
perfect.
All
All right.
Are you-
Tell,
See you in a bit.
okay.
Love you.
I
Have
love
fun.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
We're having a lot
Thanks
of
for
fun.
the refill.
Yeah, no problem.
Bye,
It's good, isn't it?
everybody.
Say bye to Bear. She's heading back.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Are you saying that the Harry Potter movies are not great?
Oh God.
Because we are going to have a fight on our hands.
Too bad he's in like Sweden. Oh, actually, you're gonna be closer than you think to him because I think, Jell, are you in Sweden? Are you? He's in Europe. You'll be a lot closer to him in about a month.
Sweden's close, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot
To
closer than it is.
Luxembourg?
Yeah, that's where Brad's moving. He's moving over to Luxembourg,
I will find you. And I will kill you.
and we'll have words, angry words, words that you don't want to hear. Oh, so the Running Man thing. I gotta get back to this because
Oh
really
yeah,
cool.
please, yeah.
Yeah, before I got struck by my better half. So the Running Man, Spielberg literally was like, I want to do a trilogy of movies about the protagonist is running. So Minority Report, Anderton's running the whole time. AI, the Sixth Sense kid is like running the whole time. And then Catch Me If You Can is the third one.
Oh, okay.
So those all happened. Those were all back to back to back.
Yeah.
So he hit up Williams and was like, everything needs to be about the Running Man, like the idea of like not the Schwarzenegger film, but you know what I'm saying, like
Right.
the.
Yeah.
So I think that's why Williams' scores were so motoric, and so.
Yeah, around that time. 'Cause
Yeah.
It wasn't. You couldn't really say that as much with the earlier films. Yeah, that
Right.
makes sense.
Because like right before it was Schindler's List, which was super romantic and super like emotionally laden, and then later on it was like Lincoln and like War Horse, which is
All the boring movies.
all the sappy movies that just pander to the all the boring movies, all
Not
the
to say that
character
they're
studies.
bad movies. Because Spielberg has not made a bad movie. I don't think. They're all well crafted.
They are. There's a couple ones that did duds at the box office, but there's none that you watch that you're like, this is a waste of my time, right? Like that's a bad movie. Bad movies like this, I lost 2 hours of my life watching this. Yeah.
And it's because I think he does like Spielberg. He doesn't do things for money. I don't think he does them because he wants to do them.
I think so. I think he's driven by like a need or a desire to share a story. He's like, I want to share this story,
Yeah.
Because he started off, he came up and he did some TV stuff. Like he did Duel and stuff like that. So he did the work for hire gig,
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think so. Wait, here we go. Yeah, he's in Sweden. Just not my cup of those are awesome. So real fast. Oh yeah, the movie's not so much. I'm not saying I'm not enjoying them, but just not my cup of tea. Yeah, it's totally fair. These are awesome scores too, but they're almost like a different composer. Yeah, totally, Rob. Like the Running Man scores are. I think it's because he got directed by Spielberg to be like, think about it in this way. And AI was Spielberg fulfilling Kubrick's dream, so he was dealing with
Right.
Kubrick's notes as well.
That's right. I
Which-
forgot about that.
Yeah. So wait, so J-Dog, before we move on to the ET thing, type in what Brad should look at for AI, just to put it on his radar. Like, I'm not saying you have to do it immediately, but like you put it as like a,
Yeah.
because it's good to try some of his later stuff,
Yeah.
Like-
Give me some Q recommendations.
Yeah, because it's an interesting score. It's a really interesting movie. It's like it's people trying to do like a weird film noir or like sci-fi noir fairy tale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I've seen the whole movie from start to finish, to be honest. I've listened to the score. It's so stupid that I do that. Sometimes I just listen to the scores without listening.
No,
watching
it's
the
actually
movie.
great because it's like, especially a good one like AI or like I was listening to The Omen before. That's actually turned me on to the movie by Goldsmith. I watched The Omen. I was like, what the hell's going on here? Because the first track is Ave Satani. I was like, it sounds like really fucked up Catholic music. And that's what it is. It's a black mass. It's him basically creating a black mass.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta see this movie. And then I read about it and I was like, oh my God, it's like, the birth of the Antichrist. And I was like, all right, I gotta see this thing. That's a great, I gotta do it. I gotta do a Goldsmith. Yeah, seriously. Oh, Mecha World, the very first one. Yeah. We'll listen to it at the very end. John Steve Reich Williams. It is. Rob, you're right. Like that series was John Williams channeling Steve Reich, that kind of motoric like propulsion thing. All right, let's get to the nuance here about the subtlety, because apparently time is a wasting because my friends are coming in and there's gonna be more drinking. Oh jeez.
Oh no.
Oh man, it's gonna be. There's all sorts of celebration. My best friend and his wife run a successful ballet studio, and they just had a very successful couple of week run. So they came down and they're just like, it's party time. And then I was like, well, my friend's coming in. He's leaving in a couple of weeks, and so we're gonna party. And it's all partying. So let's talk about this, and let's listen to ET because of the nuance of subtext with this one.
Yeah. You start that. I'm gonna hit the bathroom again. I'm gonna laugh a piece of that.
Yeah. It's only 2 minutes. I want you to listen to how great this is. And by the way, let's talk about real fast. I'm going to stop right now real fast. Let's remember I told you Williams dirties up his tonality? Look at what's happening in the clarinets and the horns. The horns are doing a E to A to E, right? Which is the perfect fifth. And then he adds the tritone, which is, by the way, from the, right? But he stacks it together. He takes that linear motion, he stacks it together. So it's creating a bit of grit, but it's grit that hints at the theme, right? And then he's got the two offending notes up high in the clarinets. So it's a dissonant diminished cluster, but it's hinting at one of the themes of ET. There's something like 12 themes in this movie. So once again, that's what I say about dirty harmony. It's like a simple structure that he then puts a couple of blurred notes in there. Right there.
It's as if you were playing the piano when you're drunk. So you have the goal of playing a G chord, but
Right.
then you like
Yeah.
you hit an extra note
Like the
because you have
drunk
no
finger.
control.
Yeah, the drunk finger does something you don't want. It's like, and you're like, but then you're drunk. So drunk me is like, this is a really good idea. And then you start playing with it. You're like, right? And you're like, that sounds really good. And then you wake up the next morning and you have to get the director and you're like, I'm stuck with this because I have to get there. The director's like, I love it. And you're like, yeah, okay, we're gonna do this. John Williams, functional alcoholic, Oscar-winning composer. All right, here we go.
Yeah, the one thing about this cue or this video that I did, and I will formally apologize for this, is I wasn't separating the music from the film and like bumping it up a couple decibels, so it's a little hard.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not perfect, guys.
This yet another failure on your long list.
Dweebs.
Dweebs. Oh, look at this. And listen to how subtle this is.
I love this harp writing.
Yeah, and you rarely see him do this exposed.
Yeah.
You
The
know?
dude can write for fucking harp, dude.
Yeah. It's this kind of cute. I remember this one. And then the strings, are these concertinos that are like glissando? Yeah. It's like, dude, all of you sample composers are like,
Step it up.
yeah.
Or
Like
get
this-
out.
Until I'm hearing this, I'm like, I'm not impressed. By the way, look.
The strings are sighing. You see this? The strings are yawning.
Dreamlike. Yeah, they are. That's what Brad was saying. When he showed that to me, I remember that we're like hanging out one day and he's like, they're sighing. And I was like, oh my God, you're right. I just thought it was a beautiful 4-to-1 cadence. I'm like, oh no, it's this pretty little 4-to-1 thing. He's like, no, look at Elliot. He's yawning. He's sinking into, ready? In the exhale. He times it to the exhale.
It's perfect. Give me a break.
Yeah, exactly. Everything is phenomenal. And by the way, all these extended performance techniques, the tremolo legato with the cello, that whole like. This is such a beautiful movie. I get all weepy with it. Because it's so like, Williams gets, let's talk about subtext. Oh wait, here's the bitonal.
I think it was just that brief moment. I think it's gone.
Yeah, I think that's just a little bit. We talked about this. We talked about the all the themes and like the tempo of these themes when we were looking at this film. Bum bum bum. Which, by the way,
The Imperial March.
they said, yeah, are those the same chords as the Imperial March? Why, yes, it is. The but again, it's about that subtext of in that scene, like. It's not just about, oh, I'm being quiet because they were in a quiet room together. It's like by Williams doing that side credential thing, the whole point is that he and E.T. are syncing. They're actually, it's not just like, hey, we're buddies, we're hanging out. It was like, they're connecting.
Yeah.
And so by having the music connect to Elliot's phrases or his body phrases, like Williams is hinting at the connection between E.T. and Elliot, because that shows up later on. But when E.T. gets sick, Elliot's getting sick and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So to your point about musical, it is foreshadowed, but you were saying earlier in the very beginning of our Farkle Friday, you were talking about the idea of like the music actually hinting at things to come.
Yeah.
to John Williams.
It's almost like he knows what he's doing
and has trained the craft for years. All right. We got 2 more to do and then we got to wrap up because we could do this for hours. But yeah.
I kind of hear this critique a lot about John Williams, which is that his method of scoring is very like literal, and it's like, oh, he Mickey Mouses everything.
Yeah, he's on the
it's
nose.
Like,
it's
dated and everything. It's like, no, he knows subtext. Like, let's not don't kid yourself.
Yeah.
Like
exactly. And I think a lot of it is that what Williams does, what people can grab, and I'm not trying to be like negative, like, oh, when the obvious stuff, but when you hear big bombastic action cues, that's the easiest to grab with your ears.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, that's on the nose, that's like very energetic, it's catching stuff. But like, go and listen to the stuff where there's a lot of dialogue, or there's a lot of like sensitive emotional moments, and you get stuff like that. You don't hear that because he's so subtle, he's so out of the way that you're like, oh, it's just a feeling. But then you go and analyze it, and you're like, dude, he's really commenting on like what's happening underneath.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's why one of the reasons I love E.T. is because I'm like, there's a lot of those cues in Act 1. A lot of those subtleties, you know, that are, I saw somebody popping up. That's right. It's a green light. Anything can pop on up. It's Farkle Friday. Who cares? We're having fun. All right, I want to do, what was the second cue that I wanted to do? I wanted to do the night bus, but I want to do one more before that. It was Marion's theme.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because that's another.
That one's a short one, so.
Yeah, and it's also another example of that softer thing that Williams does, you know. Oh, and by the way, notice this. Whereas Williams is all bitonal and funky and like all dirty harmonies, there he was by and large very circle of fourths, circle of fifths. It was like 4-1, right? 4-1, you know. But he's John Williams. He's gonna do 6/9 stuff. So it's like, right.
The drunk chords.
Yeah, exactly. It's the I want to get laid chords, and I know a little bit of jazz. So you like sit next to the girl, and you're like, hey man.
You're trying really hard to just play D and A, but it's like
yeah, but you're not hitting the right notes, and you make it sound like it's like I'm like trying to be like Lyle Mays, and you're like, no man, I got taste. Yeah, exactly. Can I just say I'm gonna pimp out real fast? Yeah. The M Audio Hammer 88. This is my new controller keyboard. It's legit, right?
Fair enough. Yeah.
It makes you got all mad at me when I said this. I'm like, it makes my Alicia's keys actually sound good, and you're like, how? I'm like, because I'm not playing. Everything's not like 127 velocity. See, that like, it's awesome. All right, hold on. Marion's theme. This is the one.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's talk about subtext. This scene demonstrates the height of intensity in Indy and Marion's relationship while failing to be satisfying. They argue, Indy's in pain, and they fall asleep as soon as they start kissing. He crafted this theme with the impression that the relationship was ambiguous. It's hard to tell whether anything is in there. Pay attention to the way the music always seems to be searching. And
sure.
This is the white.
I wrote that.
This is the white wine glass right here. It's a white wine. My God, we've gone through 2 bottles in like 2 hours. This is gonna be. Gel's like, he's like, oh my God, the drink is on. I'm like, oh yeah, dude, this will do one of 3 things. It will do nothing for my Farkle Friday. It will explode it into notoriety, or it will tank it in the space of a week.
Yeah.
Because it'll be like, dude, this is like, you're an idiot. But I want you to listen to how Marion's theme is woven. And then we're gonna finish with the night bus. Oh, good, Gel.
Yeah, Luke, you better still be there. We're gonna do the night bus.
Yeah, it's gonna be in about 4 minutes.
If you leave this whole stream.
That's a great moment here. Show don't tell.
It's kind of stupid, but
it's a fun little beat. Yeah, it's so great. All right, Gel, good. You got the. Once again, if the theme can be carried by a solo instrument, then it's a good theme.
Yeah.
And if you can sing it, like, I really believe that.
10 years ago.
Is that alto flute?
I don't believe in themes.
Don't believe in this.
I only believe in story.
Story.
That was a question.
It's a dodgy question. This dodgy question. In D minor?
Please.
I don't need a nurse. I just want to
He's
sleep.
such a baby.
Mary,
How's this here?
The theme repeats.
Yes. Hurts.
Again, delicate, very delicate textures. Oh, and by the way, one thing because of Williams' jazz background, this is a big thing that Williams will do if you want a cheap way to kind of thicken your sound. In jazz, can you all see there's my G and my D, and there's my triad, this is your pop thing. It's a Bill Evans thing. The Bill Evans thing is always like dodge the root, right? In your right hand. It's like if the root's being played by a bass instrument, don't play it in the right hand because it's just doubling. So he'll swap the root for the ninth. He'll just use it in the scale. He just swap the first for the second. So he'll get this going. And it's just a little extra color, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can do it in major, you can do it in minor, right? That's a great sound.
Yeah.
That's my favorite stack right there. That's the minor 11th and fifths. Right? Oh, it's so. I love these open fists because of my Copeland thing. But anyways, so if you look there, he's got the violas and the violins in a shimmering tremolo, and then the cellos are just kind of like, right, just that extra color. It's a little trick, and Williams isn't the only one to do it. Goldsmith will do it sometimes too, and Silvestri will, but Williams does it a lot more.
Well, God damn it,
And then you voice lead through it.
Here.
And let's talk about tremolo strings for just that sensitive. Are they concertino?
Here.
Oh. And let's talk about some of the Williamsisms of like look at this harp solo bit. A lot of people only use harp, especially if your samples for like glisses. They're just like, like whatever. Which is great. But the harp works really well when you find appropriate notes in a scale or a chord structure and jump big intervals up where it's like, right? Like that'd be a great harp line. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So if you look here at bar 13, he's doing a B, an F sharp, a C sharp, a D. So he's got your stacked fifth. And there's the G. I did that. Right? So he's not really doing like a run. He's doing like these very pinged notes.
Yeah.
To accentuate tensions, I guess, in the chord.
Yeah, and it's providing some movement too, because the chords are just being held out.
Yeah.
And
But it's not rubbing against the chord because he's hitting notes that are like in the chord and in the register,
Yeah.
Beach Girl 101. Hi, Beach Girl. I think you have the wrong number. All right, let's find out. Wait. Let's find out from Beach Girl. Which Harry Potter film is your favorite? Hopefully it's the Azkaban. I'll be like, we're gonna do the night bus. It'll be great. Here we go. Did I just get flagged by a bot? That's awesome.
That's when you know you're doing it right.
Yeah, when the bots start flagging you. By the way, now we're to strings and octaves. Notice the build of Williams, right? Solo octave. And by the way, there's going to be 3 octaves at some point. Where? Yeah. Right?
Yes. And he changes up the rhythmic subdivisions. That's another way that he creates motion.
Oh, yes. He says he changes the pulse of the downbeat.
So it was like the straight eighths, and then it became the triplet eighths.
Right. To kind of create. And by the way, what a great pause and drop out. Here it is.
Good night, Indy.
By the way, do you ever think that little descending triads in D minor? Doesn't that sound like the Mr. Rogers transition music where it's like, and now we're going to the land of make believe, and then it's like, right? It's like,
Yeah.
Isn't that you?
Thing.
Yeah. It's totally like the Mr. Rogers. Like I've got like a jazz quintet and like that's my thing. Like I'd always joke about that.
We never seem to get a
And-
break, do we?
Oh yeah, this is a whole different. This is a brand. In my opinion, this is a brand new cue. That whole cluster is basically when God gets pissed at the Nazis, as well he should. Notice the last thing, by the way, and this is just why do you study jazz? Because look at these chord analysis. Okay, if you've got this structure, D to E to F sharp. If you don't have a good grounding of harmony, you can't reharmonize that. You're like, I don't know, it's a B minor, I guess it's a D major.
Yeah.
The bigger your vocabulary, the more you can put it in different contexts. You can put it like this. Right?
Yeah.
Or in this case, a C.
Can I say something directly into the mic?
Yes.
These freaking dweebs.
these dweebs.
Expand your harmonic vocabulary, idiots. Don't waste any time.
The time is now, the day is today. Get it going. And this is right. It's, you know what? It just gives you tools. Look at what he does. It's the beautiful motion between a B minor and then, right? It's that growth, that growth of the root tone. It's just Williams being awesome with that. And then, like you said, the nuance, I'm gonna get a little bit naughty with this. This is basically frustrated sexual tension. If you think about it, it
yeah.
totally is. This is
Fair
a
enough.
giant blue ball moment
Yeah.
for Marion. For Marion. And kind of for Indy. He was like, hey, we're going to do this. Oh, I'm so tired and I'm 41. And you know what? It's like, I should kind of want to go to sleep. So
Yeah.
and that's what this is. And you can build that by having harmonic vocabulary. You know what I mean? All those things that you do to add that to that. So
Your life will not be worse for expanding your harmonic vocabulary.
Yes.
I can assure you that much.
exactly.
Your writing will not get worse.
No. And in fact, not only will it get better, but when you have to then go to something simple like a 145, and there's nothing wrong with a 145, it's so fast and easy because you're like, that's all it is. And you can just bang it out. Like I had to do this, the funny thing, remember I spent more time mixing that ukulele cue with Matt than I did actually writing it.
Yeah.
Because it was like we had to do this ukulele cue for a little video game, and it was all 145, 1245, and I banged out the chords in about 10 minutes, and Matt wrote the entire thing in like an hour. And then we spent 2 days mixing it because the game designer was like, "Oh, I want this," that's fine. It's all production stuff. But the piece was written in like 90 minutes. It's like and written and recorded in 90 minutes,
Yeah.
right? So it's like if you know your harmonies, it's that fast,
Yeah.
So right now, having said that, I want to try this, the night bus. We're gonna finish up with the night bus.
Yeah, all right.
'Cause-
we'll wrap this up with a freaking insane cue.
I won't lie to you. This is one of those pieces that like is almost like a bridge too far for me. I'm kind of like, I don't know how he's coming up with some of his stuff. Like his action cues, I can parse out. Brad's parsed out. Like he's got a pretty good handle on what's going on. The more tonal stuff, it's like a lot of jazz, a lot of like 19th century harmonies.
Yeah.
This is out there, man. This is, man, what's going on? Why is it not loading? I blame Luke for this. Luke, I blame you.
Luke,
Come
where
on,
are
move
you?
on.
We're on to you. We're on to your shenanigans. Oh, this 4K thing. You make me feel so glad I enrolled in a private piano jazz teacher for the next year. I didn't know jazz was so respected for film. Tony, I won't say that it's. I will say not everybody wants to follow jazz. But I'll tell you this, like I'm going to nerd out for a second. And Brad's formal training was in jazz only, although you analyze a shit ton of like classical.
I started out with classical.
Oh, you did classical as well, right?
Yeah.
And I did. My first degree was in classical theory at Penn.
Yeah.
And it's great, and you get exposed to, all the great classics, Beethoven, Mendelssohn, all that. But at some point, real fast, you start hearing stuff even on the radio that you're like, you can't explain that with classical theory, but it sounds good, like Africa by Toto, or like, you know what I mean? Like Ode of Lonely Heart by Yes.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, what explains it? And then you start learning jazz, right? And you're like, jazz allows you to kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I don't love jazz, but I love jazz theory.
Yes. I love the language of jazz,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And actually, it was when I started teaching at U of Arts that I got opened up to that. Because when I was studying at Penn, like, I had this weird disconnect because the jazz that I was taught at Penn was like Coltrane. It was like, if you're not listening to Giant Steps and like Birth of the Cool, right? Like deep, like the Miles Davis Quintet, right? It was like, if you're not listening to like Bitches Brew, you're not studying jazz. But then with my gigs that I was doing, I was listening and playing like Herbie Hancock from like the 80s and Chick Corea, the Electric Band, right? All that like pop jazz.
Yeah.
And like the Yellow Jackets and the Rippingtons. And I was like, I don't understand. And Michael Brecker. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, I love that stuff. And I guess that's jazz, but it's not really like, it's like pretty, not easy, but it's like very accessible.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I got to U of Arts and like Dave Thomas, the head of the program, was like, dude, it's all jazz. He's like, come on. Just, like you said, it's like, it's just a theory. It's a language. It's a way of putting stuff together,
Yeah.
So, yeah, totally. So long and short is, Tony, you should totally study jazz. And then you should, because the other thing that's great about jazz is like, hey, if you don't know what's going on, use your ear and figure it out. Transcribe, write it down, right? Or analyze it. It's very like practical, right?
Yeah, it's very like DIY.
Yeah, it is DIY. And then you do it, and then it's like, and then it's also like, there's this weird thing in jazz, which I love, where it's like, if you jazz, you analyze, perform, and write. You just do it. You know what I mean? Like everybody in jazz is like, oh, I perform, and to various levels. Like, it's not like I'm the best jazz piano player, but like I play piano and I play in an ensemble because I do jazz, and I transcribe because I do jazz, and I compose because I do jazz. You know, it's like it's just this kind of
Yeah.
right. It's like a general
Yeah.
music thing. You know,
Yeah.
so and yeah, and then the languages and the tonalities are great. Well, because the Rob was saying the harmonic languages and the tonalities in jazz, the colors are way more interesting than the feel and the groove.
Yes. 100% agree.
Totally.
That's
And not a negative way, but you can map the groove onto your colors. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Like you can map the bossa nova style, or you can map a funk groove, and then you've got, but the colors are.
Robert Thomas, I wasn't sure about you before because you have 2 first names, but I'm with you.
You sold Brad on you. You're like, you're okay. You can subscribe to his channel now. You'll actually get it. All right, so let's go. Let's finish up here with this with Luke's.
Take a deep breath while you still can.
Jeez, this is gonna get ugly, man. This is gonna get nasty.
Speaking of jazz.
Yeah.
Move on, move on.
Out jazz.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I wasn't sure if I liked this cut of the film, but I love the cue.
How do
That's
you
what
not
it is.
like this cut of the film?
Well, it's just, you know what? It's to me, it's manic for the sake of being manic. It's like appealing to the kids, like let's just be crazy and like a Disney ride because it's cool. You know what I mean? But the music is freaking amazing.
Yeah, it is.
But you know, yeah. Well, if you read the book, I feel like the book's version of this is way different than the film. I feel like the book's
Yeah.
version is not nearly as Disney ride. You know, Six Flags Great Adventure. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, and I haven't read the book in a long time, but I know in the book there wasn't the dynamic between like the talking head and the driver. Like I don't think there even was a talking head in the book.
No, the weird Haitian like shriveled skull thing.
Yeah.
That wasn't the. That's the other thing. I was like, that's a gimmick. You know, like.
Yeah, it is, but it's funny. I mean, I like it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
it's fine. I guess it's just I was like being a bit of a purist for like I read the book and I was like, there's no Haitian head. It was there just for the gimmick of like, watch yourself, it's gonna be a bumpy ride, you know. That's my awful accent.
I think in the book it was more about like, okay, this is a thing that exists in the world of Harry Potter, like this bus that picks up stranded wizards and stuff. And so it was an introduction to that, and also it was like, it was more focused on the conductor with the introducing Harry Potter to Sirius Black, like saying this is what's happening in the world.
Yeah, there's exposition big time
Yeah.
in this. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. And it was useful. And it was you know, perfectly done. It was just I guess it was just for such a dark movie, I was like, this is a little bit like forced ribaldry, you know? Forced ribaldry. But the music in this is
Yeah, and the video that I know Luke said that he's watched is the video that Nerd Writer did. If you haven't seen it, it's really good.
oh yeah.
And he points out that part of what this scene and the scene before it, where Harry blows up his aunt, it's all very lighthearted, and it's kind of a throwback to the first 2 films, which are very lighthearted.
Right.
And then it takes a turn after that because it then like this is kind of the book and the movie where things get real dark.
Right. And
so-
the gravity of like the situation starts to kind of manifest itself. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like the director kind of wants to ground you in the feel of the earlier movies, which is very lighthearted, and then steer you towards the darkness.
Yeah, the
bit.
darkness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So this is a bit of a transitional emotional beat where it's kind of like let's play homage and remember where Harry came from and remember that this is a magical world, but also be like things are getting a bit more serious.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. No, that makes sense. All right, let's get a shot here. That I respect that point of view. I was like, that's cool. That's fair. not that my opinion means anything, but it's like that's what we got here.
Take her away, Ian.
Yeah, take it away, Ernie. It's gonna be a bumpy
Bumpy
ride.
All those clusters. That's just the jazz stabs. Oh look, diminished because it's action cues.
That's okay. Look at the first measure that's on the screen right there.
This one right here, bar 16.
That is a shape that John uses all the time, which is that you can look at it as a minor ninth, you can look at it as a major minor third, or
Yes.
it shows up everywhere in his action cues.
It's an
his
ET.
chord stacks. Yeah.
Yes. So we see what I'm doing there? It's like, look what it is. It's a G, a B flat, an E flat, and an F sharp / G flat, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we explained it because you just totally picked
And
that up. Because
There's so many different ways that you can look at it, and in my opinion, it doesn't really matter how you look at it as long as you understand what the shape is and what the intervals are.
Yeah.
Is you can see it if you want to, sometimes you'll see an E flat on the root. It's an E flat with a sharp 9.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's more of this thing where it's the minor third and the major third of E flat.
Which he likes to use that cluster, but it's blown out into a different octave, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just, you can look at it however you want, but the shape is just everywhere. And
Yeah.
here, it's there, it's just broken out into a saxophone line.
Yeah. And by the way, look what it's up against. It's an E flat structure, kind of. But what is it against? A C in the bass,
Yeah.
right? Which, by the way, gives you a couple things. You could then say it's a C minor, a C major 7, or excuse me, C dominant 7 flat 9, but
Right.
that C, that 10th is replaced with a tritone,
Yeah.
which he loves that tritone, right?
That's right, yeah.
That's so cool. I guarantee you, I know for a fact that shows up in E.T. during the first chase of E.T. when he's about to try to get back to the ship in the first 10 minutes of the film where
Yeah.
the ship leaves. Because I remember when you analyzed that, you were like that figure. I was like, oh my God, that's that figure, but with some different, octave stacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
brilliant. All right, so there it is. By the way, there's an EIS term for that. It's theory of total dissonance. But that's, just saying it's an EIS. You can do that. So you can do it in EIS if you want.
Same thing, just
Yep.
modulate it up.
Modulate, yeah. Oh, and by the way, right there, the bum, 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 bum. A lot of times, the way you can get, and this is karma over to you, because a lot of times you're like, how does he get all these crazy things? A 1 to 5 to 1 in classical music is the easiest way to establish a tonality.
Yeah.
So if you want to be bitonal or tritonal and be just chaotic, but have the ear kind of latch onto things, pick an instrument, and Williams will do this, pick a color that you can hear, and just do a 1-5-1. So if you're doing right, it's he's basically okay, I'm in my own key up here, it doesn't matter, but I'm giving you a 1-5-1, and then if you hear a 1-5-1, you're like, oh, okay, I get that. That's that key. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a little hack, but a lot of times Williams' stuff that's very complex can be broken down into little Legos of simplicity.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the one thing I like about this thing, this particular section, and I don't know, did I write something with bass? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, I did. So
What bar?
The very last note on the right. So
bass line?
he repeats the same melody in the same key, but the key in the bass line changes, and so it kind of recontextualizes it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I always heard it as being the whole thing modulates, but it really doesn't.
What
It
happens
just feels like a new thing because the bass line's moved up.
right, so the right hand doesn't change. Well, the right hand position doesn't change. It's doing the same motif and the same figure, but the left hand.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's just circle of fourths, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it just moves up a fourth.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you know what you see in pop music all the time, where it's right?
Yeah.
Right, you can see my right hand didn't change at all, but I moved from the 1 to the 4. It's that, but it's John Williams, so it's much better. It's not that crap. That's a great hack, Fark. Oh yeah, Rob, right? I think one of the things about Williams' bitonality, and if you read Persichetti 20th Century Theory, he talks about bitonality. I think it makes it more complex. I think Williams thinks about things in regions of the register.
Yeah.
So he's if I've got something happening down here, he's got something happening here, right? And then he has something happening up here, and he makes sure each of those regions is very clear. That's clear. That's just 2 chords that are tritone apart. Now maybe under here, he's bitonal because he's going so he's going but our ears can hear that as 2 separate events that are bitonally laid on each other. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
And then that 1-5 hack is a great one. Right? That, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
But by the way, I'm gonna nerd out for a sec with this. You'll notice how I can't play it very fast. I'm not a good keyboard player. This is why you write it out.
Yeah.
Because the pencil is faster than the piano, right? And you can't play that stuff that fast, You just need to. So that's a brilliant idea. Right, let's go back more of this. Are you getting pearls here, Luke? This, by the way, is a white wine cue. This is a total white wine cue. Bum, 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 right? Just a little.
Actually, wait. Can we go back a second?
Yeah. I love it. I've got this awesome mouse that Chillbot gave me, but it's one of these mice that is like, you do it from the side. So whenever my friends have to use it, they're always like, what is happening? This thing is so weird. All right, so what are you looking for?
So, I want to take this back to our chaos and order thing.
Yeah.
Okay? Which the viewers might not may not have heard before, because it's a theory. Okay.
Oh,
I
yeah,
always
yeah.
talk about the idea of manifesting chaos and order in film scores. Okay. What Harry's in right now is almost complete chaos, because he's like, what is this bus? And not only does he not know where he is, but the bus is just careening through London.
Yeah, no
Like-
control of the situation, right? Yeah.
They're all over the place. They're like racing around corners and going in between cars and everything. It's just total chaos. And so how Williams does that, again, subtext.
Own it.
Is complete chaos in terms of not just, well, actually rhythm, there's a pulse to it, but by tonality. Like, so you've got that melody there,
Right here,
which starts
Spark?
out in D major. Yeah, the highlighted thing.
Oh yeah, this
The
one right
thing
here.
that
This
you're
little
playing.
bit right here. Yeah.
It's actually, you were saying about going from 1 to 5, but it doesn't really do that, because it starts in D major, it goes down D major scale, and then it goes to A flat, tritone away.
Oh, does it at this point?
So even the melody itself is completely ambiguous in terms of what key it's in.
Oh, I didn't catch that. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
yeah,
only
yeah.
that, but there's a C major bass line going on, and there's a freaking what is that? E flat minor thing over top of
with
it.
like a Lydian flavor thing going.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then there's just these like woodwind glisses that
Just
where
a-
he's just like, I don't care what note you hit, just hit a note.
Yeah,
and
you're
come
just,
back
making, you're
down.
just making a sheet of sound, right? Yeah, yeah.
So it's just total and absolute chaos in terms of tonality. Like nothing. The thing that was hard about this analysis was I was like, how do I write down that there's no way to write any of this down?
Yeah. There's no sense of a key center because he's deliberately not putting a key center anywhere. Everything's in different keys. There's nothing is trying to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And by the way, the piccolos, not only are they glitzing up, they're cluster glitzing up. It's not just like
Yeah.
unisons. It's like you're in these 4 notes like this, and they're just going up and down like that. So it's just this like slur of. So, all right, chaos and order. So what does this mean? I'm gonna leave this to this because this is Brad's immersion theory he's working on.
Well, I don't know if I want to get into it, but it's like, it's just there's so much to get into.
Yeah.
But Harry is in chaos because he has no control over the situation. Like this young man with the crazy glasses, Ernie.
Young man.
He's driving the bus, like he barely knows what he's doing. I don't know how he's getting away with what he's doing, but he's going through London. He's going in between cars.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they don't crash and die is a mystery to me.
Yeah. It's a minor miracle. Yeah.
Harry's holding on for dear life, and frankly, so are the musicians.
Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
what it comes down to. Is the music is manifesting that idea of complete chaos in almost every possible way.
Yes, totally. And a lot of it is that Williams is going against all things that were taught in theory. Where he's
Yeah.
like, I don't want one key center at all. He's like, any particular register is not even in the key center, and if they are, this is implying this key center, this is implying a completely different key center. This is just doing colors, like it's just he's trying deliberately to blur everything, but not just look, there's patterns to everything. Look, this is an ostinato bum 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 bum, right? And then there's a 5-1-5-1. So that area is dealing with like a C major kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then above that you've got a D, a B, a C flat, and a G. Why is it-
D flat, and C.
Oh, D flat,
Yeah.
C.
So minor 9.
Yeah, so it's your minor ninth, right? So it's like
Then a melody, a major 9 in D major.
yeah, a minor
It's
but
like-
D major. So just like as much grit and just as much.
And then an E flat minor.
So he's actually stacking the minor ninths. He's actually stacking the minor ninths to make it as grumpy as possible.
This man does not want you to feel at home whatsoever.
Yeah. He wants you to feel. So there it is. C, C flat, D, E flat. Yeah, it's just like this. I just want you to be uncomfortable and like out of place, you know? And by the way, let's go back to like simple things, right? Which is the interval of minor ninth, which is an octave plus a second. You can just keep on stacking that for that discomfort.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he's then doing all this cool jazz stuff, but it's like you could literally start with, which is just a great starting point, right? It's, it's just grumpy and nasty. But then, of course, he's all linear because he's awesome. Oh, yeah. And he's got a lot of like little...
Yeah, these weird percussion instruments coming out.
That's great. Those 4 pickles going down.
And the other thing is, those muted trumpets and the woodwind verses are basically emulating car horn sounds.
Yeah, they're touching on the actual movie sound effects. Yeah. He's like, kind of like with Rhapsody in Blue, where he's like trying to fake the New York sound. Yeah.
1 3/4.
12 tone bass line? Really?
Yeah.
No shit. That's awesome. Yeah, what he's basically doing right there is he's just making like some sort of like atonal ostinato, right? And the pattern is the ostinato, but it's like whatever. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's nothing, you said like the G minor harmonic clusters. This is one thing that Craig Sharmat taught me, which is great, which I really agree with. I'm not saying he's doing it, John Waves is doing it, but Craig would say sometimes like harmonically, like you don't want to do this, you want to do this. He goes, unless you're going for an effect. He goes, you may play on the piano that sound, which is like a G, A flat, B, C, and be like, I just like that effect. And I'm just going to throw it in tremolo strings, or I'm going to throw it in muted brass.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. You just want that chunk of sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people trying to overthink that as a composer. They're like, oh, it's some sort of relationship. I'm like, nah, it's just sound. It's like just a chunk of sound that you want to kind of blop in there. You know, like similar to what Hans did with the Joker theme. And I mean that in a good way. Like in terms of his thing was synthesizer. He's like, I just want that. Everyone's like, oh, it's one note. I'm like, yeah, but he's like trying to like tweak the frequencies and all that stuff. You know. Now.
And that goes back to Chaos Warrior too. Just saying.
That's true. The same thing is like, because the Batman theme is very metrical and very almost like military, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know.
Because that's what Batman represents.
Right.
It's order.
Yeah, and control, right?
Joker, complete chaos.
Yes, total chaos, especially the way Nolan portrays him. Well, Nolan / what's his face from Knight's Tale, the guy, the actor, whatever his face is. Heath Ledger, yes, exactly. So we've gone through a lot of wine today. So all right, let's pound this out here. I want to keep on going with this because, and look, you see the clusters in the bottom there. He's not going for harmonic stuff. He's going for just a cluster, like a knot of sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Back to that.
Yeah. And by the way, also, this is also Williams just channeling his jazz roots. So there's things you do in jazz that you wouldn't do in traditional film score. Right? Got those little stabs. This is great writing by Williams. It's an annoying scene in the film, in my opinion.
Really?
Watch yourself. It's going to get a little thin in here, whatever it is.
Oh, come on. It's fine.
I don't dig this at all. The music I totally dig. Williams nails it. Oh, wait. Let's go look at the chord clusters there, because it's going to be what you're talking about. Look at the chord cluster there on bar 6. A, oh, sorry, I knocked him up. And then you've got an E flat, a G flat, and a C.
Oh, E flat, yeah.
Right? So once again, tritone, build a structure on the tritone. Yeah. Right? It's just not hard, dude. It's like
not hard.
It's not hard, you know? It's like, and then under it, you've got the, it's some atonality kind of thing. I mean, this is like, Williams has patterns that he uses over and over again.
The leaky cauldron.
Next up, Nocturne.
Oh, and by the way, Luke, That's brilliant.
10, 9.
That's brilliant. By the way, let's go throw this back. At the very end with that, like, okay, that's a tritone relation, based in one tritone apart. It's minor and major stack in the other. We saw that in Battle of Yavin. We saw that. We didn't see the Battle of Hall today. We saw it's like, which shows you if you have the right language, you can map it to different rhythms and different genres, like that, right?
Yes. And
Subtext. You see what I'm saying, Luke? Like you were like, oh, it's such crazy stuff. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of crazy stuff in there, but there's also some tropes that Williams uses over and over again. He just maps it onto some sort of fast bebop thing, rather than your traditional like pseudo Holst kind of thing. You know what I mean?
And plus, I don't know how it's like. Yeah, you can say, oh, this cue is entirely chaos, and that's fair. Like there's a hard way to like really condense that into some theoretical, like nice packaged presentation of like this is what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
And we can check off all the boxes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so absurd and so all over the place, and none of the parts are really, well, except that one part that was connected by the minor ninths, but like none of it's really connected in any sort of meaningful way. But that's the point, is because the entire sequence is like we just have no control over the situation.
Yes,
it's
totally
just
disjointed.
all over the place, and so the music is following that subtext.
Totally.
The subtext.
The subtext.
How many
Wait
times
for
can I say that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what have we learned today? Subtext. And don't use D minor. Use C. Subtext, tritones, in the key of C. There's your lesson from John Williams. But you're right. Like it's not that he's chaotic in his composing. It's that he's very ordered in his composing to create the emotion of chaotic narration.
Yeah.
Right? Which is way different. It's like it's a lot harder to like compose chaos than it is to be chaotic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
but yeah, so all right, so you know what? And oh my god, we've been going for 2.5 hours. Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
told you, man, this is like approaching Verta-isms.
Yeah.
And we delved into, we had brief moments of Verta ranting at some point, I think. I was like, I may have to make this private. I may be like, this is bad. No, it's fine.
Luke, do you have any more questions regarding the night bus? I know we did this for you, but
That's true.
Did we cover it? You know, everything that you hoped to get out of this?
Yeah, or give you some ammo to like play with.
I know it's an absolutely crazy cue.
Yeah, and we're kind of like a little bit of a, we're in a Friday afternoon spazzy mode right now. So
Yeah, in my drunken state, I may not be able to help you further, but
we have to at least give you the honor of giving you the question of like, are there any other questions? Maybe just like that question's too hard.
yeah.
You know, like let me see here. Luke is just saying yes right now. You have 30 seconds, and then if you don't have to do that, we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah.
Because not in a bad way, because I think we're approaching a law of diminishing returns where we're like, well, plus my friend just came in about 15 minutes ago. We've got to move on to the next thing, which is I got to grill a bunch of burgers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We got more, and then apparently there's more food and more wine downstairs.
But the question is, this whole endeavor with the food and the wine, what is the subtext?
Of is there subtext to the fact that we started with the red and ended with the white? Huh? Think about that. That's your. But I'm still, yes, it was cool to listen to a couple extra comments, but I'm still a potato brain. Great show. Luke, you're not a potato brain. You just got to chip away and like little niblets here and there. Rob, thank
Luke,
you.
You're a potato brain.
Here's this good composure, bad composure, right? I'm like, no, you're awesome. You're great. No, you wasted our time and yours.
I'm just an asshole.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
more
just
of an
an
asshole.
you're just an, subscribe to Brad for the content, not the support.
Yeah, I will support you 0. I
will
will
give
call you an idiot. I will call you a moron. I will call you a dweeb.
Yep.
I will not respect your support whatsoever.
Exactly.
And I will do whatever I want on my channel.
But he will make quality content. He will give it out regularly and be like, here it is. Have fun with it, you know? So remember to like, subscribe, and subtext. Dweebs. Rob, thanks so much for the kind words. And by the way, I hope you guys, all joking aside, I hope you got something out of this, because it wasn't just, yeah, we were joking and riffing about it, but the fact that we're able to pull so much ammo as a composer, that's the takeaway, I think, too. Williams is so loaded with good ideas and good execution and good sensitivity to the story. It's like you can just keep on studying him over and over again, right?
And we were able to do it while being semi-drunk.
Yeah.
So
well,
you should be able to do it easily sober, and if not, you're a freaking moron in a
because we're not that smart, okay? And we're still able to pull some of this shit out, right? It's like, I'm not a smart dude. I'm barely hanging out with some of this stuff, you know? So yeah, Brad's right. You guys have no excuse, you know? Just get out there, and I think the big thing too is to take away is just like how John Williams thinks very simply and then assembles things simply. He assembles his simple things in a complex way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And wait for it. Subtext. All right, guys, we're gonna head out. That was awesome. Hey, everyone, wish Brad well. The next time you see him, he's gonna be in Luxembourg, right?
Luxembourg, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Don't subscribe to me. Don't subscribe to him.
no.
Don't subscribe to anyone. This industry is a shit show. Find something else to do.
23 years old and burned out and jaded. Like, this is a waste of your time in life. But listen, guys, it's been so great. I'll see you guys soon. We'll do another Farkle Friday in a couple of weeks. And then everyone wish Brad well and subscribe to his YouTube channel, which is Film Score Analysis. You can see it right there. I'm going to just kind of highlight it right there. Film Score Analysis. It's great. I mean, like you saw what it is. It's breakdowns of all the film cues. It's very John Williams friendly. I've been trying, hit him up and have him do some Goldsmith. I've been trying to hit him up do some Goldsmith, but he's really busy. He's been working full time at a music company. So, you know, I get it. You know, so you can't turn down the paycheck, you know? So, all right. Well, listen, we're going to go. Guys, have a great night.
Yo, look, we'll have to hang out sometime. I do plan on visiting London, so
yeah,
England, you know, that area. Let's figure something out.
You got a bunch of the Discord chaps over there. You got Xaviez is over there, and Karma's over there. You know, Matt's over there. Yeah, you'll be fun actually. Yeah,
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, it'll be
let's do
awesome.
it.
All right, cool. Listen, gents, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go get Brad more drunk.
Cheers.
Cheers to John Williams.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, let me turn this off.